The man wanted to survive peacefully inside the manga world, so he deliberately trained himself into a muscular beast. He thought that with a body like this, no one would dare mess with him. But he never expected the original heroines of the manga to start showing interest in him one after another. Even the original romance storyline went completely off the rails because of his existence. He slowly opened his eyes in a daze. All he saw around him were blurry faces. He remembered being caught in a fire before losing consciousness. Yet, when he woke up, he was already lying in a hospital. Suddenly, his eyes shot wide open because the face reflected in the vase wasn't his own. In the end, he reached one conclusion. He might have possessed someone else's body. The original owner of this body was named Kim Yu-sung, an ordinary guy from an ordinary family. But last weekend, he seemed to have been involved in a car accident. The original owner was probably already dead, and the man's soul had taken over this body. Still, for him, this wasn't exactly a bad thing, because he had finally escaped that laboratory. Now, all he had to do was figure out how to survive here. Soon, he arrived at the room of the original owner, Kim Yu-sung. The moment he opened the door, he froze on the spot. The bookshelf was actually packed with manga. There were also plenty of figurines beside it. Apparently, this guy was a full-on otaku. He wasn't even sure if he could live normally under this identity. If he suddenly acted like a completely different person, his parents would definitely notice something was wrong. Then he saw the custom poster Kim Yu-sung had made for himself. At that point, he realized this guy was completely hopeless, a total edgy chunibyo case. But most of the manga on his shelf were battle manga and romantic comedies. So if he followed that logic and copied his lifestyle, there shouldn't be too many problems. And before coming to this world, he had read part of that series too. It was a record-breaking shonen manga with over 10 million copies sold. The ending had the childhood friends finally becoming a couple, but many readers couldn't accept that ending and called it a complete disaster. By the next day, he had read a good number of manga from the shelf and ended up staying up all night. Then, his mother called him over to help take orders. After changing into his work uniform, he noticed a group of people walking into the shop, and the two people in front of him looked strangely familiar. The girl called the boy Ryuji-senpai. That name sounded even more familiar to him. Because Ryuji was the male lead of the manga he had read, he really didn't expect that he had actually ended up inside this manga. Now, he could finally summarize what a real transmigration story was. He had died in a fire, and his soul had possessed someone named Kim Yu-sung. And this Kim Yu-sung seemed to be nothing more than a background character in the manga Chaotic Love. Simply put, he had possessed a character inside the story. The problem was, he didn't remember the full plot because he had skipped around while reading it. Thinking about it carefully, this place wasn't that different from reality to him, and since it was a romantic comedy, the world wasn't going to end. So as long as he avoided getting involved with the main character, he could live a normal life as a background character. From then on, his life became busy. First, he had to finish reading all these manga, then learn how to imitate Kim Yu-sung. He deliberately applied to a private high school far away from the original school district, entered as the top student, and received a full scholarship. After enrollment, he used puberty as an excuse and slowly rebuilt his entire personality. Even so, the possession couldn't be reversed. Facing an unpredictable future, he felt he had to prepare for something. So he wrote down plan after plan on paper, but none of them felt quite right. In the end, he chose fitness training. Strength was a crucial part of survival. Stamina was power. And even if this was a romantic comedy, having it was still better than having nothing. But after working out for a while, he realized that training was actually surprisingly fun. From then on, he became completely hooked on exercise. And time quietly slipped by. Just like that, Kim Yu-sung spent an entire year of high school without any major incidents. On this day, the new semester began, and everyone started checking their class assignments. Then a boy gave a slight smirk. Seeing his friend walk over, he said, "Aren't you a little too late?" Kim Yu-sung, "Which class did you get?" Kim Yu-sung said he didn't know either. By now, his appearance had changed drastically. He was now a second-year high school student. That year had gone by in the blink of an eye. Over the past few months, he had gone through an insane muscle-building phase, which was why he looked so different now. And the reason for all of this was simple: self-defense. After all, in a manga world, aliens, ghosts, and gangsters suddenly showing up was basically normal. So everything he was doing now was preparation for the future. It definitely wasn't just because he had become obsessed with muscles. So far, he had gained quite a lot over the past year. He was assigned to Class 2B. At that moment, a girl entered the classroom and greeted everyone. Her name was Yabuchimai, the heroine of the original manga, and sitting beside Kim Yu-song was Sakamoto Ryuji, the original male lead. To him, this was basically a disaster scene. Of all people, these two had ended up as his classmates. He had chosen a school far away from the original district, just to avoid them. If he got dragged into their mess, his peaceful school life would be over. Then he heard Sakamoto Ryuji say that his day had been terrible. First he lost his wallet, and then he bumped into some strange girl on the street. Those words instantly shocked Kim Yu-song. Did that mean she was about to appear too? The moment that thought crossed his mind, someone opened the classroom door. The teacher told everyone to quiet down and return to their seats. Then he announced that he had something very important to say today. But Sakamoto Ryuji didn't seem to care at all. He was still worrying about his missing wallet. The teacher said that a transfer student would be joining their class today. Then a blonde girl walked into the classroom. With her cute little fangs showing, she greeted everyone cheerfully. Everyone thought she was stunning, and some even wondered if she was a foreigner. The teacher asked the girl to introduce herself. She said her name was Kishimoto Rika, and that she had just moved here from somewhere else. Kim Yu-song had actually expected this already. Since he was already in the same class as the male lead, that meant the heroine was bound to show up. Kishimoto Rika. Even though Kim Yu-sung had mostly forgotten the original plot, he still remembered that her popularity had always stayed firmly in first place. Even if she wasn't the final winner, her popularity never left the top spot. Then, the teacher told Kishimoto Rika to sit in the back row. Conveniently, he also asked Sakamoto Ryuji to help look after her. At that moment, Ryuji suddenly realized that this girl was the same person he had bumped into that morning. Kishimoto Rika recognized Ryuji as well. She stared coldly at him and said, "I still haven't settled this morning's score with you." The teacher calmly interrupted them. "Since you two already know each other, that makes things even better." Kishimoto Rika sat down there with obvious reluctance. After taking her seat, she even shot Ryuji a fierce glare. At first, Kishimoto Rika didn't want to deal with Ryuji at all. But she had picked up Ryuji's wallet that morning, so she returned it to him anyway. Kim Yu-song sat beside them, completely frozen, desperately wanting to escape, but unfortunately, he still had 2 more years to suffer through here. In the blink of an eye, class was over. His friend came over to borrow a manga from him. Even after entering high school, Kim Yu-song still hadn't quit manga, and that was also for the sake of his future. According to the laws of a manga world, even if he didn't remember the full story, most manga followed similar patterns. That was why he had to keep reading the latest magazines and stay updated on the plot trends of every romantic comedy. At that moment, Ryuji suddenly grabbed Kishimoto Rika's hand. "There's something I want to talk to you about in private. Can you come with me for a second?" What he wanted to talk about was the accident from that morning. Kishimoto Rika agreed. "Fine, I guess I can talk to you alone." The classmates beside them were still confused. Did something actually happen between those two? Kim Yu-song said he needed to use the bathroom, but in reality, he wanted to eavesdrop on their conversation. But the moment he pulled the door open, his massive body and the aura around him instantly intimidated everyone. The entire class shuddered. Was this guy really a high school student? Why did he feel so terrifying? He almost looked like the heir to some gangster family. It seemed Kim Yu-song was about to be isolated. Was it really just because he looked a little too muscular? But for now, he had to check what was going on between those two main characters first. To improve the accuracy of his judgment, he needed to witness the event himself and collect evidence. In this school, the only place suitable for a private conversation should be that spot. He had to know what they talked about. He absolutely couldn't let the story develop beyond his expectations. And the place where the two of them talked was the school backyard. Kim Yu-song quietly hid in the bushes and watched their every move. The reason Sakamoto Ryuji wanted to talk to Kishimoto Rika alone was simply to apologize. Kim Yu-song truly couldn't believe Ryuji would strike such an embarrassing pose. But somehow, that pose actually made Rika laugh. Rika burst out laughing. "You really are ridiculously innocent. Since you went this far, I'll forgive you. Besides, what happened this morning was just an accident." Rika was cheerful, ranked #1 in popularity, and this was her first encounter event with the male lead. Honestly, it was the textbook opening of a classic romantic comedy. But while Kim Yu-song was spying on them, another girl discovered him. "Kim Yu-song, what are you doing crouching there so suspiciously? Don't tell me you were trying to do something shameful." The girl speaking was Saionji Kumiko. She came from a prestigious Kyoto family, served as the student council president, and was basically the villainous rich girl archetype. In reality, Characters like her were usually destined to become side characters or comedic rivals. But a secondary heroine was still a heroine, and she was destined to get tangled up with the main character. Kim Yoo-sung quickly explained, "I just thought this branch would look nice in the student council office." Kumiko looked completely confused. "You want me to put something like that in the student council office? But since it was personally chosen by my secretary, I suppose I can reluctantly place it there." Kim Yoo-sung had made up a random excuse on the spot, but somehow she actually believed him. But then again, why was she here in the first place? It turned out Kumiko wanted to have lunch with the student council officers to strengthen their teamwork, and she had decided to specially grant Kim Yoo-sung the chance to join them. Then she told him to hurry to the cafeteria, or there would be no seats left. But Kim Yoo-sung told her not to eat at the cafeteria because there probably wasn't anything suitable for her there. Kumiko laughed. "It seems you really don't understand me. Do you truly think I know nothing about commoners' food and culture?" Kumiko vaguely remembered the spicy pork rice bowl she had eaten at Kim Yoo-sung's family restaurant last time. It had tasted quite good, and she could handle commoner food of that level just fine. Kim Yoo-sung felt like she was subtly insulting his family restaurant, but for a president who usually ate steak in the student council room, this was honestly already impressive. Still, he reminded her that the cafeteria didn't serve spicy pork rice bowls. The cafeteria only had gyudon, which was a somewhat similar dish. That made the president feel something was off, because no matter how she heard it, the name sounded like junk food. Now, even the president didn't know what to do. Was she really supposed to eat junk food? Just then, someone else appeared. The person was also a student council member and one of Kumiko's loyal subordinates. The moment he arrived, he pointed at Kim Yoo-sung and scolded him. "You brat, you have absolutely no sense of responsibility toward the student council. Because you never showed up at the student council office, our poor young lady kept searching for you and couldn't even eat lunch." Kim Yoo-sung was completely lost. Why did this guy's sentence sound so strange? And what exactly was pitiful about the young lady? The next moment, the president stepped directly in front of Kim Yoo-sung. "Stop talking." But the man clearly had no intention of letting it go. "I can no longer tolerate your rude behavior, you brat." The boy with glasses was about to keep going, but the president dragged him away. Before leaving, he still told Kim Yoo-sung that he had better apologize to the president. Kim Yoo-sung had absolutely no idea what was going on. As the major characters began appearing one after another, he realized this meant chaotic love had officially begun. Because he had desperately built up muscle, his body had become especially intimidating, and now even the main character was avoiding him. It seemed that whether in Country H or Country R, a powerful build was still the ultimate advantage. Since the main characters had already met, the story would naturally move forward on its own, and all he had to do was live an ordinary life like a background character. Just then, a hand suddenly tugged at the hem of his clothes. Kim Yoo-sung turned around and was instantly startled, because it was Kishimoto Rika, the transfer student who had just arrived today. But he had no idea why Rika was here. It turned out she had come to ask for directions. Kim Yoo-sung was curious about how she knew his name. Rika told him it was because his name was attached to his bag. "I didn't expect you to be so clueless, Kim. It's kind of cute." Kim Yoo-sung hadn't expected this situation at all. At that moment, Rika suddenly gave him a sly smile. "I knew I was right about you. I knew you were actually a pretty good person." Did she seriously think Kim Yoo-sung was a good person? The other students nearly froze in fear just by looking at him. But what exactly was she trying to do? Or rather, why had she remembered him from the very beginning? It turned out that the strange aura Kim Yoo-sung gave off during class made it impossible for her not to notice him. She had also heard plenty of rumors about him, but when she saw how seriously he listened in class, she became curious instead. On top of that, Rika thought he felt surprisingly approachable. Apparently, a good person was still a good person in the end. Kim Yoo-sung, however, felt that this was bad. He had already gotten tangled up with one of the heroines. Seeing how kindly she treated even someone like him despite all the rumors, he started to understand why she ranked first in popularity. Maybe she was just naturally kind to everyone, but now he was seriously considering whether he should scare her off with his muscles. His dazed expression made Rika a little unhappy. "You're clearly a good person, so why are you ignoring me? The others in class might misunderstand you, but I believe they'll eventually see the real you. They'll understand that those scary stories are just rumors. You may look a little frightening, but you're actually very kind. Until everyone clears up their misunderstanding of you, I'll keep being your friend." It seemed muscles alone weren't enough to scare her away. With Rika's personality, it probably wouldn't matter whether Kim Yoo-sung looked like an ordinary student or a gangster. Since meeting in the same class was now unavoidable, he could only let things happen naturally. Still, Kim Yoo-sung stuck to his background character act. I'm looking forward to it too, Rika. Then he glanced at the address in her hand. For some reason, that address looked strangely familiar. It seemed to be a wealthy district, full of mansions. Was Rika actually from a rich family too? Kim Yu-sung said, "That place isn't far from my house. You can take the same train as me." Rika immediately caught the other implication in his words. Does that mean we live close to each other? Looks like it must be fate. Seeing her expression, Kim Yu-sung instantly realized he had said too much. He should have kept his mouth shut. Suddenly, he remembered something important. He had prepared a perfect survival strategy, but there was one fatal flaw. He had basically forgotten almost the entire original story. Instead of blindly guessing like a background character based only on romantic comedy tropes, it would be better to get information directly from Rika herself. If necessary, he could even threaten the male lead with force and make Ryuji ask Rika out. A small change like that shouldn't affect the original plot too much. Before long, the train arrived. As soon as Kim Yu-sung entered the train, everyone around him avoided looking at him. To them, he looked far too terrifying. Rika, however, discovered one benefit of sitting with him. There would always be a seat. In the end, Kim Yu-sung finally brought her to Chitose Funabashi Station. Just as he was about to leave, Rika suddenly called out to him, "Kim, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow." Before she could even finish speaking, the train doors closed. Yet for some reason, Kim Yu-sung felt an inexplicable sense of unease. Was it because he had already gotten involved with the heroine? The next day at noon, Kim Yu-sung was about to eat his lunchbox. But then he noticed Rika looking at him with puppy dog eyes. "Don't tell me you eat here alone every day." Kim Yu-sung said there was nothing he could do, since the other students were all afraid of him. Rika replied, "But you should be eating in the cafeteria." Kim Yu-sung answered, "Don't worry about me. You said it yourself. Someday they'll see the real me. So I'll just wait patiently." Suddenly, Rika noticed the lunch in Kim Yu-sung's hand. It seemed to have Japanese rice rolls, and on top of that, Korean gimbap. It was her first time seeing the real thing, so Rika immediately asked if she could have a bite. Seeing the way she looked like she was about to cry, Kim Yu-sung couldn't bring himself to refuse. Rika carefully took a small bite. But the next second, the taste completely won her over, and she said in surprise, "You said your family runs a Korean barbecue restaurant. No wonder this tastes so authentic." After that, she even told Kim Yu-sung to tell his mother that she really liked her cooking. As a return gift, Rika asked Kim Yu-sung to try her tamagoyaki. Kim Yu-sung agreed and prepared to taste a piece. But the moment he put the tamagoyaki into his mouth, the flavor truly shocked him. Some say life is half sugar, but even so, this was way too sweet. So he asked Rika how much sugar she had put in it, and Rika said she didn't know either. For the sake of Rika's safety, Kim Yu-sung felt it was necessary to teach her how to make a zero-sugar Korean rolled omelet. Just then, the two of them suddenly heard a whistle. They looked up and saw the president and her officers standing there. At that moment, the president was trembling with anger. Improper relationships between boys and girls on campus might be forgiven by heaven, but they wouldn't be forgiven by the student council. As the student council president, she absolutely wouldn't tolerate this. Kim Yu-sung was completely confused. "When did we start dating?" The boy with glasses stepped forward. "A boy and a girl, eating alone together. Are you really saying that's a proper relationship? You were caught in the act, and now you're still making excuses. Do you have no sense of responsibility?" But this had nothing to do with responsibility. They were only eating lunch together. Besides, hadn't Kim Yu-sung been having strange encounters with the president pretty often lately too? At that moment, Rika turned her gaze toward the president. The president felt a little uncomfortable under her stare. "Who are you? Do you have something to say to me?" Rika suddenly remembered. "Oh, you're the president of that dark student council, right?" The president froze on the spot. Since when had she become a villain? Rika said there were plenty of rumors about the president, such as how she liked wearing a black uniform and always carried a small fan. The president thought Rika was being extremely rude and sternly explained that, strictly speaking, the outfit was meant to display the dignity of the student council. But Rika told her there was no need to explain. "Everyone is just teasing you, saying it looks like cosplay. As long as you're confident, it's fine." The president's mood instantly sank. Were the other students really laughing at her for cosplaying? Today, the president had suffered a complete defeat. She told Rika to wait because she would definitely return. She would absolutely avenge this humiliation, and she had already carved it into her heart. Kim Yu-sung still had no idea what she was trying to do, nor did he understand why she had suddenly appeared here. Before long, school was over. Rika looked at Kim Yu-sung and asked, "Why aren't you going home yet? What are you thinking about?" Then she noticed the club pamphlet on his desk and realized he hadn't joined any club yet. so Rika suggested taking him around to try out different clubs. Kim Yoo-sung thought she had a point. At the very least, he should check out what the clubs were like first. So he slowly stood up and prepared to look around the clubs with Rika. But he made one thing clear first. He planned to visit every sports club. Rika looked completely confused. The reason was actually simple. Kim Yoo-sung was curious to see just how far his strength could take him. Meanwhile, on the soccer field, a blonde guy was angrily complaining about how he couldn't score a single goal. Even though they hadn't scored once, they were still acting incredibly arrogant. Just then, a massive shadow suddenly loomed over them. "Would you mind moving?" The person who spoke was Ryohei, the third-year captain of the soccer team. Seeing that someone tough had shown up, the two blonde guys immediately apologized and said they would leave right away. A nearby soccer player quickly thanked him. "Thanks, Captain. Those guys were seriously annoying us. The second you showed up, they ran off." But Ryohei could only sigh, because none of the new students this year seemed especially outstanding. He really wanted to win the national championship this year. If only they could recruit one powerful player. Meanwhile, the blonde guy who had been scared off was still furious. "Should I go back and beat him up right now?" His friend immediately refused. "I'm not getting involved. I heard his kicking speed is famous nationwide. What makes you think you can compete with him?" The blonde guy snapped that fighting wasn't all about brute strength. Then, as he tried to find a way to save face, he suddenly bumped into someone behind him. "Which brat just bumped into me? Watch where you're going." Hearing that, Kim Yoo-sung immediately stopped and turned around. The moment the two blonde guys saw who had spoken, cold sweat poured down their faces. Without the slightest hesitation, they turned and ran off into the distance. Rika helplessly reminded Kim Yoo-sung, "Don't speak so loudly. You need to get along with everyone." After that, Kim Yoo-sung and Rika arrived at the soccer field. The players were curious about why he had come here. Was he here to take revenge for those two guys from earlier? After all, the whole school knew how terrifying Kim Yoo-sung was. But the captain patted one of the players on the shoulder. "Relax. He's not the kind of person who would waste time getting revenge for punks like them. With a body like that, he's already on the level of a national class athlete." Then, the captain walked up to Kim Yoo-sung. "Kim Yoo-sung, I've heard a lot about you. I'm Ryohei, the captain of the soccer club. What brings you here?" Kim Yoo-sung said he had come for a tryout. That overwhelming pressure startled Ryohei. Even though Kim Yoo-sung was only 10 centimeters taller, Ryohei felt like a dwarf beside him. And those muscles, his physique, looked like it could crush everything in its path. If Kim Yoo-sung joined the soccer club, the national championship might no longer be just a dream. Ryohei immediately brought Kim Yoo-sung in front of the goal and told him to kick the ball in with all his strength. Full strength? If that was the case, then he would give it everything he had. The next second, Kim Yoo-sung gathered his power and raised his leg high. In everyone else's eyes, the aura around him was terrifying. He kicked the ball toward the goal with all his strength, and as it tore through the air, it released a thunderous roar. The members of the soccer team stared at the scene in horror. The soccer ball in front of Kim Yoo-sung had been completely destroyed. That wasn't the kind of force a normal human could produce. Then, he turned to Rika behind him and asked, "Where are we going next?" Rika said excitedly, "Next is the basketball club. Crushing them one by one is actually pretty fun." Soon, the news that Kim Yoo-sung was going around crushing every club spread throughout the school. That news also reached the ears of a certain female student. "Kim Yoo-sung, you finally started making your move. A person like you really couldn't endure the loneliness of being invincible." At that moment, Kim Yoo-sung shattered the backboard with a single dunk, leaving the crowd below completely stunned. Right after that, he swung a baseball bat. The baseball smashed straight into the ground and left a hole behind. Meanwhile, Rika wrote down soccer, table tennis, track and field, volleyball, baseball, judo, kendo, swimming, and tennis in her notebook. Everything was going almost too perfectly. Kim Yoo-sung asked, "Rika, how many sports clubs are left?" Rika gave him a sly smile. "So that's what you were curious about." Then she pulled out a pair of glasses. "Allow me to answer your question." Kim Yoo-sung was a little speechless. Did she really need to make it this dramatic? Excluding table tennis, judo, and volleyball, which weren't holding tryouts today, there were 3 clubs left. The track and field club, the swimming club, and the kendo club. In short, there were still 3 sports clubs Kim Yoo-sung could sign up for. Kim Yoo-sung was truly grateful to Rika, but she really didn't need to go this far. "Rika, besides modeling, have you started acting too?" Rika froze for a moment. "Why are you asking that?" All of a sudden, Kim Yoo-sung said, "I just think you're pretty talented. Never mind, pretend I didn't say anything." Saying it out loud felt a little embarrassing. In fact, Rika had actually done work similar to acting before. Kim Yu-sung was instantly startled. Wait, it couldn't be what he was thinking, right? What kind of work would make her this hesitant to talk about it? But she was a heroine, so there was no way she had that kind of sketchy past. Rika suddenly hooked her arm around his. Let's not talk about that. Don't we still have 3 clubs left? Seeing how flustered she looked, Kim Yu-sung decided not to press further. He chose to visit the kendo club first. Meanwhile, at the entrance of the kendo room, Kim Yu-sung arrived with an intimidating presence. After hearing the news, students rushed over to watch. I heard he destroyed every club already. Is he here to take over the kendo club now? Rika instantly switched into manager mode. If you have business with him, you can talk to me. Then the door to the kendo room slowly opened. A voice came from inside. So you finally made it this far. A third-rate thug who uses tryouts as an excuse to go around wrecking clubs. The next moment, Futaba Yukika spoke. Your violence ends here. I will stop you. Everyone began cheering for her. But Kim Yu-sung simply said, I'm only interested in the kendo club. Just tell me how to sign up for the tryout. Futaba Yukika felt that his attitude was incredibly arrogant. She said coldly, 1-point match. The first person to score a valid hit wins. I'll be your opponent. Enter the training hall. This instantly excited the crowd. A human weapon versus the kendo club captain sounded way too interesting. Some people even took out their phones and started recording. Rika laughed behind him. Looks like they've already turned you into the villain. Yukika suddenly shouted. All of you, shut up. Everyone looked stunned. This is a one-on-one duel between me and Kim Yu-sung. No one is allowed to interfere. If anyone insists on stepping in, I'll deal with that person before I deal with Kim Yu-sung. Everyone was so frightened that they fell silent, not daring to say another word. No one expected the kendo captain's presence to be this overwhelming. Rika was right. That pressure was no joke. This woman was seriously dangerous. So Kim Yu-sung told Rika to wait at the entrance for a moment and said he would be right back. After entering the kendo room, he immediately saw plenty of weapons and protective gear. Yukika reminded him to put on the protective equipment first, but Kim Yu-sung said there was no need. He felt what he was wearing was good enough. We can start now. Don't blame me if you get hurt. Before he could finish, Yukika cut him off. I won't get hurt. You really do know how to joke. You might not even touch a single strand of my hair. Are you ready, Kim Yu-sung? The next moment, the match officially began, and Kim Yu-sung blocked her first strike with his bamboo sword. No matter how fast Yukika attacked, he blocked every strike steadily. But that was only a test. The real duel hadn't begun yet. Yukika judged that Kim Yu-sung was still just an ordinary person. Soon, Kim Yu-sung deliberately exposed an opening. Naturally, Yukika didn't miss that chance. She struck Kim Yu-sung's wrist with her bamboo sword. The bamboo sword in his hand was knocked away. That made him pause for a moment. Yukika coldly called him an idiot, saying he couldn't even see through such a simple feint. The next strike would be the final one. But what Yukika never expected was that Kim Yu-sung showed no fear at all. Instead, he suddenly smiled, and the smile was terrifying. Yukika's heart jolted. Was this a trap? The instant she instinctively stepped back, the bamboo sword that had flown away somehow returned to Kim Yu-sung's hand. Yukika cursed inwardly. This guy was insane. He might even be a complete lunatic. Was he planning to lure her in first, then grab the bamboo sword again, and counterattack? If she had reacted 1 second later, she might have been the one taken down. Yukika kept analyzing him. This guy was far too dangerous. She had underestimated him earlier. If this dragged on, she would be the one in danger. So she decided to end the match with the next strike. Then Yukika took her stance, unleashing her full aura. This is my clan's secret technique, Demon Slaying Slash. Kim Yu-sung, this ends now. But Kim Yu-sung didn't feel pressured at all. Yukika's strike landed squarely on his chest. Kim Yu-sung instinctively let out a grunt of pain. Kim Yu-sung, how does it feel? This is the Futaba clan's secret technique. Even in training, no one has ever taken this strike head-on. Yukika thought she had already won. But the next second, she froze. Because right after that, Kim Yu-sung struck her directly on the chin. Yukika had never expected the situation to turn out like this. Yukika's heart jolted. Was that a hidden weapon? Why hadn't she noticed it at all? She gripped the bamboo sword tightly in her hands. Yukika stared at Kim Yu-sung's body. Could this guy's defense really be that absurd? This damn muscle monster? The next morning soon arrived. News that Kim Yu-sung had defeated the kendo club captain had already spread everywhere. Some people even guessed that his goal was to take control of the entire school. Kim Yu-sung was completely speechless. He had only wanted to spar a little. Was this really the romantic comedy plot he knew? Fortunately, Ryuji wasn't affected by the rumors, just like always. As the male lead, he probably wouldn't stray too far from the main storyline. At that moment, Rika walked over and greeted Kim Yu-sung. The next second, the classroom door was suddenly pushed open. A red-haired girl stormed in. "Damn it, Ryuji, get out here." Everyone wondered what was going on. "Isn't that Tojo Karen from the Kendo Club?" Ryuji stepped forward. Ryuji, what do you want from me? I heard you bullied the first years in our club. I visited them at the hospital yesterday and heard everything." Ryuji felt that there might be some kind of misunderstanding. Mai stepped forward to explain that there might really be a misunderstanding, but Karen snapped at her. "Who do you think you are?" Mai got angry too. "You're from the Kendo Club, right? The ones at fault are your first years. Yesterday, several Kendo Club students came after me and even tried to drag me into an alley. I told them to stop, but they refused. I was terrified and had no idea what to do. Ryuji was the one who saved me. Now that you know the truth, do you still think Ryuji was wrong? Since you understand now, go back and properly discipline your club members. This wasn't Ryuji's fault at all. The problem was those first years from the Kendo Club." Tojo Karen finally understood what had happened. Then she suddenly shouted, "Ryuji, become my man." She declared that she would make Ryuji the happiest man in the world. Mai froze on the spot, her mind full of confusion. Was that really something a girl could say out loud, in public? Naturally, Mai couldn't agree to this. Kim Yu-sung immediately became interested. Launching a confession attack at a time like this? The world of romantic comedy was truly terrifying. He had to grab some popcorn and watch this unfold. And he wasn't the only one enjoying the drama. Rika was also incredibly curious. Could this be the legendary love at first sight? This girl is way too cool. The classroom instantly became lively. Everyone started guessing who Ryuji would choose in the end. Some people thought the fiery girl suited him better. It seemed everyone was already gossiping about what had just happened. After Karen dropped such a massive bombshell, Kim Yu-sung felt that this incident would definitely spread across the entire school. Then Rika turned to him and asked, "Who do you think Ryuji will end up with?" Honestly, Kim Yu-sung wasn't too sure either. If things followed the original plot, Ryuji should end up with his childhood friend. But then Rika said she already knew who Ryuji would date. The answer was Tojo Karen. But only if Rika gave her romantic advice first. Rika seemed extremely confident in her consulting skills. She said she was an expert, after all, because she had been in countless relationships. Kim Yu-sung couldn't understand why she was so excited about something like this. Did she really want someone to ask her for relationship advice that badly? Time quickly moved to the afternoon. When Kim Yu-sung pushed open the classroom door, he saw a figure sitting up ahead. And that person was Tojo Karen. Kim Yu-sung couldn't understand why she was sitting in their classroom. According to his friend, Tojo Karen was apparently trying to cling to Ryuji and make him go out with her over the weekend. If they really went out together on the weekend, wouldn't that basically be a date? But what his friend said next made Kim Yu-sung pause. Apparently she was the daughter of someone important. Her father seemed to be a major figure in the underworld. And Tojo Karen had inherited her father's forceful personality. Her family was said to control a massive organization across the entire Kanto region. This surprised Kim Yu-sung a little, but he didn't really care. Even if she had an unusual background, Tojo Karen hadn't actually done anything too outrageous yet. But soon, Kim Yu-sung realized something felt off. Thinking about it carefully, he was already inside a romantic comedy manga. So a setup like this appearing wasn't that strange after all. Just then, Tojo Karen suddenly shouted, "Ryuji, you still haven't accepted my invitation for this weekend. I need to properly apologize to you. So will you go out with me?" Mai told her to stop bothering Ryuji because her behavior was clearly making him uncomfortable. Tojo Karen immediately got angry. "What's it to you?" The whole class was envious of the scene. Who wouldn't want two girls fighting over them like this? After that, things became even more interesting. During class, Tojo Karen came to ask him out. During PE class, Tojo Karen also came to ask him out. Even when Ryuji went to the bathroom, Tojo Karen followed him and asked him out again. Ryuji was genuinely on the verge of breaking down and only hoped Tojo Karen would back off a little. During lunch, Rika asked Kim Yu-sung what he planned to do over the weekend. But Kim Yu-song didn't have any special plans. He was thinking about helping out at the restaurant, so Rika asked if he wanted to consider going to her house. Her home had tons of manga, as much as he could possibly read. She also said he would definitely be shocked, because her father was a collector, and their house was basically like a manga cafe. So Kim Yu-song decided he would definitely call her when he had time. Suddenly, Kim Yu-song noticed something. Rika ate so much, yet she was still incredibly slim. Rika told him not to worry, because no matter what she ate, she would never gain weight. She was naturally the type who didn't get fat. That startled Kim Yu-song. Did people like that really exist in this world? Just then, Tojo Karen suddenly walked over. Rika was a little surprised and didn't understand why Karen had sat down beside her. But this was perfect. Rika finally had a chance to teach someone about love. So she took the initiative to start a conversation and gave a simple self-introduction. Rika felt that Tojo Karen seemed troubled lately, so she wanted to help her. After hearing Rika's name, Karen was also surprised. Tojo Karen had heard that Rika was a romance expert, but Rika pretended not to hear and asked her to say it again. So, Tojo Karen shouted, "I heard you're a love counseling expert. I've heard your name before." Only then did Kim Yu-song realize that everything Rika had told him was true. She really was an expert. Tojo Karen was confused about how someone else knew what was on her mind. Rika explained, "You come to our class to find Ryuji during every break. It would be weirder not to know." Tojo Karen quickly covered Rika's mouth. "Everyone's going to hear you. Keep your voice down." Tojo Karen then said she wanted to hear Rika's advice, especially advice about romance. When Kim Yu-song returned, he realized Rika was having way too much fun. Today, Rika and Tojo Karen agreed that after school tomorrow, everyone would sit down and have a proper talk. And that included Kim Yu-song too. But in the original story, these two were supposed to be rivals for Ryuji. Rika actively helping her like this felt strangely off. Still, Kim Yu-song didn't bother thinking too deeply about it. He would rather focus on training. But the moment he entered, he found the place packed with people. Was there some kind of event today? Why was everyone here? Just then, Kim Yu-song heard someone calling him from behind. He turned around and saw that it was actually Yukika. But this time, her expression was completely different from before. Seeing Yukika arrive, Kim Yu-song finally understood why everyone in the gym was so fired up today. Yukika didn't seem to know where to begin. Later, Kim Yu-song learned that the reason they met here was because Yukika had recently moved. Just as he was feeling confused, a voice suddenly came from behind him. Nakayama Yujiro said that this was perfect, and he hoped Kim Yu-song could show Yukika around the place. After all, the two of them knew each other, so it would be easier than having an old guy like him explain everything. But the old man seemed to think Yukika had come here because she liked Kim Yu-song. Kim Yu-song felt that this old man had definitely misunderstood something. After that, it was time for his performance. The old man told Kim Yu-song to start with a 220 kilogram warm-up, which instantly stunned Yukika. Was he really starting with that much weight? The old man told her not to worry. He had been a professional athlete 20 years ago, but he had never seen a monster like Kim Yu-song. Kim Yu-song grabbed the barbell with both hands. Then he bent his knees slightly, under the owner's shocked gaze. He immediately started doing squats. The sight left Yukika completely dumbfounded. Then, the old man said 220 kilograms was too light and raised it to 270 kilograms. But even 270 kilograms was still easy for Kim Yu-song. The old man even winked at Yukika. "I told you, he's a monster. You don't need to worry so much." Yukika had no choice but to admit it. This wasn't the physique a second-year high school student should have. And this was exactly the rare phenomenon Yukika had only heard about in rumors, the extreme yang body. Of that, she was absolutely certain. The extreme yang body was the ultimate masculine physique, a body born with the strength of 100 men. In historical legends, nearly all great heroes possessed this kind of body. Yukika was so certain because she had personally fought Kim Yu-song before. That wasn't strength someone could gain through training alone. Yukika felt that she had to report this matter to that person as soon as possible. Time quickly moved to the next day. Kim Yu-song and the others arrived at Tojo Karen's house, where everyone bowed to her respectfully. "Welcome home, miss." It seemed her family really was part of the underworld, but why wasn't Rika surprised at all? Was this normal in this world? As someone who had only recently transmigrated here, Kim Yu-song would never get used to it. However, the aura Kim Yu-song gave off made even the gang members feel uneasy. One of them immediately stopped him. "You bastard. Are you a spy sent by another organization? Those words startled Tojo Karen. What are you talking about? He's my classmate. But those men didn't believe her at all. Look at the murderous aura around him, and that face doesn't look like a high school student at all. Miss, come over here and stay away from him. But Kim Yu-sung had clearly done nothing. Was he really being treated like this just because he looked a little mature? After they went inside, Tojo Karen kept apologizing to Kim Yu-sung. He simply said it was fine because he was already used to it, although he appreciated the invitation. Kim Yu-sung felt he wouldn't be much help with romantic advice. Rika, however, said he would be very useful and told him to wait on the side for now. Then Rika began teaching Tojo Karen romance techniques, and the first step was learning how to cook. Just trust the advice of romance expert Rika. Kim Yu-sung was speechless. Did this girl really not feel embarrassed saying something like that? After that, the three of them prepared to start cooking, and once they started, they kept going from noon all the way until evening. Tojo Karen finally managed to make a bento box. It was her first handmade bento, and overall, it actually looked pretty decent. The only problem was that earlier, Tojo Karen had accidentally turned the heat too high, and all the ingredients had turned to ash. Even if she was a beginner, this path was clearly far too difficult for her. The smell of food even made Rika feel hungry. So, Kim Yu-sung suggested, "Should I just make some dinner?" He told Rika to leave the food to him, while she only needed to focus on teaching Tojo Karen how to handle romance. The next second, Kim Yu-sung began making his specialty, egg fried rice. The way he tossed the wok left both girls completely stunned. In just 1 minute, he finished a plate of golden egg fried rice. The two of them each took a bite, and the taste was ridiculously amazing. Tojo Karen and Rika were both surprised. "So you can cook, and it actually tastes this good?" Kim Yu-sung explained, "I started making my own bento boxes during the second semester of my first year. During the first semester, his mother always woke up early to make lunch for him, and every time he saw how exhausted she looked, Kim Yu-sung felt guilty. At first, he was clumsy and struggled a lot, but now he had finally gotten used to it. The smell nearly made Rika cry from hunger. Making his own bento and helping his hardworking mother? That was way too touching. Then, Rika suddenly remembered that she had almost forgotten something. Before coming here, she had prepared a special gift and even went to a cosmetics store yesterday to buy the necessary items. Rika had also written all the skincare steps on sticky notes, so next time Karen needed to restock, she could just follow the list. Once you learn makeup and successfully get a date, we'll go shopping for clothes together. However, Rika had only seen Tojo at school, so she felt that her usual style was a little different. She even said Karen's style was kind of like an old man's, and that comment stabbed straight into Karen's heart. Kim Yu-sung didn't expect Rika to be this brutally honest. After that, Rika prepared to start doing Karen's makeup. She told Kim Yu-sung to wait there and warned him not to peek, or else she would drag him inside too. Then Rika pushed Karen into the room. Kim Yu-sung truly had no idea why he was even here. This was seriously interfering with his training. After a full day of work, they were finally ready to leave. Rika hoped Tojo Karen's date would be a success. At that moment, Kim Yu-sung passed by a convenience store. He wanted to go in and buy a manga magazine, and Rika happily said she wanted to buy something too. This time, Kim Yu-sung bought Rui-chan. Rika liked that manga too, and she often heard from her father that people who liked manga couldn't be bad people. But if Kim Yu-sung remembered correctly, Rika bought it every week too, so Rika said that meant she was also a good person. Kim Yu-sung nodded. "You're not wrong about that. You really are an absolutely good person. You spend the whole day giving everything you have for Tojo. In my eyes, anyone who can go that far for someone else is a good person." His words made Rika's face turn bright red. "You jerk. Why do you have to say things so directly?" After that, she quickly paid and left, probably because she was too embarrassed. But Kim Yu-sung didn't think so. He guessed Rika probably needed to rush to the bathroom and might not be able to hold it anymore. The next day soon arrived. Everyone was shocked by Tojo Karen's outfit. Today, Tojo had tied up her hair in small braids and was even wearing a skirt. If they didn't look closely, they might not have recognized her at all, because the change was that dramatic. Just then, Tojo pulled out a letter. It was a challenge letter. "Ryuji, this weekend, you're coming somewhere with me." But Ryuji froze, because he hadn't even realized that the person in front of him was Tojo. So, after school, Rika brought Tojo Karen to a women's clothing store. Kim Yu-sung, however, felt completely out of place, as if he had entered another world. Tojo Karen asked them to help her pick an outfit for her date. Kim Yu-sung asked in confusion, "Do I have to go too?" But before he could even react, Rika had already dragged both him and Tojo Karen straight into the store. Whenever Rika saw a pretty outfit, she pulled Tojo over to try it on. Under Kim Yusung's shocked gaze, she picked outfit after outfit. Seeing that Tojo Karen could no longer hold everything, Rika simply pushed her straight toward the fitting room. A moment later, Tojo's voice came from inside. "This cute style doesn't suit me at all." But Rika only gave a mischievous laugh. Then she charged straight into the fitting room. "Don't move, just leave it to me." After that, a series of chaotic sounds came from the fitting room, the kind better left unexplained. When Tojo Karen came out again, she had completely changed into a different style. Rika was still admiring her own masterpiece with satisfaction. Although Tojo felt the skirt was too short, after receiving Kim Yusung's approval, her cheeks immediately turned red, and she stopped objecting. Kim Yusung hadn't expected her change to be this dramatic. Clothes really did make the person. That saying was no joke. Meanwhile, at Tosei Hall, inside Tojo Karen's home, a group of people stood in a room, staring at the man seated in the chair, not daring to say a word. He was Tojo Naoto, the 6th-generation chairman of the Tosei Kai, known as the blood-washed madman. It seemed Karen had truly found a boy she liked. The people around him couldn't believe it. Who exactly had managed to catch their young Mrs. I? "I won't hand my daughter over to just anyone." "Sento, what did you say that boy's name was again?" "Chairman, his name is Sakamoto Ryuji. He attends the same school as the young miss. Yesterday, the young miss said she wanted to visit a hair salon, so I personally drove her there. But today, her credit card statement showed a purchase from a clothing store inside a department store. Based on that, the young miss is definitely planning a date with him." Hearing this, Tojo Naoto's brows immediately tightened. The next second, he grabbed the blade beside him. "How dare that brat!" The people around him quickly rushed forward to hold their chairman back. After calming down slightly, Tojo Naoto said, "This weekend, if any of you are free, come with me. Our mission is to secretly monitor their date and make sure that brat doesn't try anything funny." "Yes, Chairman." Everyone allowed inside that room was a high-ranking officer of the Tosei Kai, so not a single person hesitated. Meanwhile, Kim Yuseong and the others stared at the burgers and cola on the table, having completely lost their appetite. Rika was so exhausted that she barely had the strength to chew. Tojo Karen said, "Rika, thank you so much for today." Rika replied, "Don't mention it. This is what friends are supposed to do. Besides, I had a lot of fun shopping today because you were there." Seeing Kim Yusung eat only one burger, Tojo Karen asked in confusion, "With that body of yours, is one burger really enough? You can eat as much as you want. You helped me so much, so something this small is no problem." Kim Yusung said there was no need, since he had already eaten a lot for lunch. He used to think Toji was just a delinquent, but he never expected her to be this easy to get along with. When Tojo Karen noticed Kim Yusung staring at her, she suddenly became embarrassed. Rika then asked, "By the way, have you planned tomorrow's date route?" Tojo Karen thought carefully. "We'll go to a cafe, then watch a movie, then have dinner. Isn't that how dates usually go?" Hearing such a plain plan, Rika immediately got angry. "Don't do what everyone else does. Skip the movie and go here instead." On her phone screen was an aquarium. It gives you that feeling of being inside the ocean. Fish and coral reefs dancing around peacefully together. How romantic is that? Most importantly, the soft lighting is perfect. Trust me, in that kind of atmosphere, the two of you will definitely fall in love. You have to trust the advice of romance expert Rika. Kim Yusung watched the two of them with a deadpan expression. The next day, after Kim Yusung and Rika finished reminding Tojo Karen of everything, they watched her leave. Both of them believed her date today would definitely succeed. Then Rika asked, "Kim-chan, what are your plans?" Kim Yusung had no idea when he had gotten that nickname, and after hesitating for a moment, he said, "I'll probably just stay home and read manga." Seeing that he had nothing to do, Rika immediately said, "Then let's follow Tojo together. As her good friends, we have to see her happiness through to the end." Looking at the gossip fire burning in Rika's eyes, Kim Yusung no longer wanted to say anything and could only agree. From that moment on, the tailing duo of Rika and Kim Yusung was officially formed. Meanwhile, people on the street saw a dense crowd of figures suddenly appear and immediately moved aside. The person who arrived was Tojo Karen's father, who had brought his men to his daughter's date location. Meanwhile, on the other side, Tojo Karen and Ryuji successfully met up. Ryuji apologized a little awkwardly, saying he was sorry for making her wait so long. Tojo shyly brushed her hair aside and comforted him. "I just got here too, so don't worry." Only then did Ryuji realize that Tojo Karen looked unbelievably beautiful today. Stunned by her appearance, he blurted out without thinking, "You look really pretty today." The moment he said that, a blush spread across Tojo Karen's cheeks. "Why don't we get some tea first, then plan out today's schedule?" But when Ryuji tried to help Tojo Karen carry her bag, the two of them got into a polite back and forth. Meanwhile, the disguised Kim Yu-sung and Rika were secretly watching from a distant corner. Seeing the two start walking, Rika quickly followed, and Kim Yu-sung reacted half a beat late before hurrying after her. "I heard this cafe is pretty famous." But Tojo Naoto, who was also watching in disguise from the shadows, was already grinding his teeth in anger. "My daughter invited him herself, and that brat still dared to make her wait for 5 full minutes?" His subordinates quickly rushed forward to hold the chairman back. After the chairman finally calmed down, one of his men reminded him that people nearby were starting to suspect them. The chairman was confused. "Why? Our disguises are flawless." "Chairman, our group stands out too much. How about we split everyone into pairs and follow them separately?" Tojo Naoto immediately thought that was a good idea and began giving orders. After arriving at the cafe, Rika ordered a giant strawberry parfait and started taking photos like crazy, completely forgetting why she had come here. But just then, Kim Yu-sung noticed that the person sitting diagonally across from them seemed suspicious. Even Rika realized that many people around them looked strangely out of place. Kim Yu-sung had a gut feeling that these people might be connected to the Toseikai, especially that red-haired guy. Any way you looked at it, he seemed like a gangster. "The aquarium has dolphins. Let's go see the dolphins first." "Sounds good. Let's do that. Today is definitely going to be fun." At this moment, Tojo Karen's smile hadn't faded once. Kim Yu-sung felt that this was all a little too exaggerated, and he had a feeling this date might not go smoothly. Whenever Ryuji and Tojo Karen had even the slightest sweet moment, many people around them glared at them fiercely. Soon, Ryuji and Tojo Karen got on the train. Because it was too crowded, Tojo Karen was forced into Ryuji's arms. Kim Yu-sung also protected Rika to keep her from being pushed around, and Rika's cheeks instantly turned red. People throughout the train kept shouting not to push, but it did absolutely nothing. They had to take the subway to reach the aquarium, but no one expected it to be this crowded. Rika felt that she was way too close to Kim-chan. Seeing Rika's cheeks turn red, Kim Yu-sung thought she was uncomfortable from being squeezed, so he comforted her. "We'll be there soon. Just hold on a little longer." After they reached the station, the crowd rushed out all at once. Kim Yu-sung immediately took Rika's hand. "Hold on tight, or we'll lose them." This way. After they safely exited the station, both of them finally let out a breath of relief. Just then, Rika raised the hand he was still holding. "You can let go now. Sorry." Kim Yu-sung quickly released her hand. Rika lowered her head and murmured softly, "Next time, be a little gentler." Rika's voice was so quiet that Kim Yu-sung thought he had misheard her. "Next time," but then he noticed that Ryuji and Tojo Karen had already crossed the street, and the light had turned red. Rika immediately shouted, "What do we do now?" Kim Yu-sung suggested, "Let's just go straight to the aquarium. Their destination is there anyway." Just then, voices came from behind them. It was the group from the restaurant earlier. "I told you we should have driven here. How was I supposed to know it would be this crowded on a weekend morning?" Kim Yu-sung glanced at the suspicious group and immediately confirmed that they were definitely the people he had seen at Tojo's house. He had to be careful. If they recognized him, things would get troublesome. But Tojo Naoto still noticed something unusual about him. "Stop arguing. Look at that guy. Why does he look so suspicious?" Hearing their boss speak, everyone looked toward Kim Yu-sung, who was crossing the street. "Chairman, that should be Kim Yu-sung, the young Mrs. Friend. The one beside him should be Miss Rika. They came to the residence a few days ago." Only then did Tojo Naoto remember. So it's him. With that huge build, I thought he was an assassin sent by another family. In that case, let's follow them. From the looks of it, they're probably worried about Karen too, so they secretly came after her. After quite some time, Ryuji and Tojo Karen finally arrived at the aquarium. But they had no idea that several pairs of eyes were watching them from behind. Was that Ryuji just now? That guy got us kicked out of the kendo club. And he still has the nerve to go on a date? The more those two thought about it, the angrier they became, until rage completely clouded their minds. Meanwhile, Kim Yu-sung and Rika also followed Tojo Karen and Sakamoto Ryuji into the aquarium. Seeing that Ryuji and Tojo Karen were getting along quite well, Kim Yu-sung and Rika finally felt relieved. Then the two of them went to an open lawn, spread out a blanket, and prepared to enjoy lunch. Today, Kim Yoo-sung had prepared Rika's favorite gimbap and inari sushi. Looking at the table full of food, Rika was practically drooling. She had completely forgotten that she was supposed to be watching Tojo Karen's date progress. Not far away, Tojo Karen was nervously opening the bento she had prepared. She was extremely tense, because this was the first time she had personally cooked for someone she liked. To make this meal properly, she had bothered Kim Yoo-sung quite a lot over the past few days, practicing almost non-stop for 3 straight days. Tojo Karen closed her eyes and opened the lid of the bento box. Inside were several different dishes, and just from the colors alone, they looked delicious. Ryuji's appetite immediately awakened, and he picked up a rice ball and stuffed it into his mouth. Watching Ryuji slowly put the rice ball into his mouth, Tojo Karen was incredibly nervous, afraid he might spit it out the next second. But to her joy, Ryuji clearly enjoyed it. "This is good." Those words of approval instantly brought a smile to Tojo Karen's face. She quickly picked up another piece and brought it to Ryuji's mouth. Seeing Tojo Karen's expectant expression, Ryuji couldn't bring himself to refuse. Tojo Karen stared at Ryuji, waiting for his reaction. When Ryuji raised his thumb, Tojo Karen finally felt completely relieved. Meanwhile, Kim Yoo-sung and Rika were eating not far away while watching them. At this point, the sickeningly sweet smell of romance had already spread across the entire area. Tojo Karen's mouth was also stuffed full with food Ryuji had fed her. But Kim Yoo-sung still felt that something was off. According to the original ending, things shouldn't be going this smoothly. Beside him, Rika quietly sighed. "When will I get to go on a date like that?" Rika's words instantly made Kim Yoo-sung forget every other thought. "Aren't you always calling yourself a romance expert?" Rika gave a sheepish laugh. "Actually, I'd never dated anyone. I learned everything from manga." Kim Yoo-sung was speechless. "No wonder you had so many tricks." Kim Yoo-sung sighed helplessly. "They're almost done over there. Let's pack up and follow them." Rika quickly defended herself. "I've helped plenty of friends solve their relationship problems." Kim Yoo-sung nodded perfunctorily. Right, you helped." Seeing Rika get flustered and annoyed made Kim Yoo-sung feel strangely satisfied. After leaving the aquarium, Kim Yoo-sung and Rika's heads popped out from behind a tree. Watching how reluctant Ryuji and Tojo Karen seemed to part from each other, both of them thought the confession should be coming soon. But at that moment, Kim Yoo-sung's gaze suddenly sharpened. 2 guys suddenly appeared in front of Ryuji and Tojo Karen, and the moment they showed up, they knocked the bento out of Ryuji's hand. "You two-timing bastard. We finally caught you. Last time, you were with the girl we were chasing, and now you're out messing around with a new one." Rika immediately asked Kim Yoo-sung if they should call the police. Kim Yoo-sung said, "Forget it. Even if we call the police, they won't make it in time. If things get bad, I'll step in." Ryuji immediately shouted, "You two really have no shame showing up again like this." From their conversation, Kim Yoo-sung finally understood who these two were. They were the first-year students who had been kicked out of the kendo club. Back then, Ryuji had saved Tojo Karen and beaten the 2 of them up. The 2 men raised their middle fingers at Ryuji. "We got kicked out because we fought you." At that moment, Tojo Karen finally snapped. "You deserve to get kicked out. You're nothing but complete idiots." Only then did the 2 realize that the beautiful girl in front of them was actually Tojo Karen after makeup. "The tomboy actually put on makeup today? Don't tell me you're on a date with this 2-timing loser. You two don't match at all. You used to spend every day fighting people in the dirt." Hearing that, Ryuji and Tojo Karen both clenched their teeth in anger. "Shut up." But the 2 guys only laughed. "You think we came here alone today? This is the guy who messed with my brother, right? Our boss is a legend from Kitayama. You're not getting away today." Seeing that the situation was getting bad, Ryuji knew he couldn't handle it and quickly told Tojo Karen to run. But the moment Tojo Karen tried to move, one of them grabbed her. Ryuji shouted angrily, "Let her go. This is between us. Don't drag anyone else into it." But the only response he got was a heavy punch. Watching from a distance, Kim Yoo-sung finally couldn't stand it anymore and told Rika to stay where she was. Ryuji dropped to his knees in pain, while the blonde guy smirked. "I'll be taking your girlfriend with me." But by then, Kim Yoo-sung was already standing behind him with a blank expression. He grabbed the blonde guy's wrist and twisted it hard, and the sound of bones cracking rang out. Then, Kim Yoo-sung flung him backward like a rag doll, and the guy had no power to resist at all. Kim Yoo-sung rarely got angry, but this time, he was truly furious. "That filthy hand of yours should never have touched my friend." He didn't know exactly how strong he was, but he knew one thing: he had never lost. Meanwhile, seeing his daughter being bullied, Tojo Naoto, as her father, was already burning with rage. He was just about to lead his men out and beat that guy half to death. But the next second, Kim Yu-sung had already appeared behind the two attackers. The overwhelming aura radiating from him made even Tojo Naoto, chairman of the Toseikai, feel his fingers tremble. In all these years, he had only felt this once before. That was from Ivan, the boss of the Russian Red Mafia, known as the God of Destruction. Yet, the aura of this boy before him was actually on the same level as Ivan's. When Tojo Naoto had once been alone with Ivan, his instincts had made his body tremble uncontrollably. It was an irresistible fear, the instinctive shudder of facing a top predator. And at this moment, Kim Yu-sung no longer cared about interfering with the original plot. Right now, he only wanted to clean up the trash in front of him. Seeing the people around them, Kim Yu-sung was afraid of accidentally hurting someone, so he told Tojo Karen, Rika, and Ryuji to leave first. Tojo Karen still wanted to say something, but Kim Yu-sung immediately cut her off and said he wouldn't lose to trash like this. At that moment, the blonde guy flew into a rage. He charged straight at Kim Yu-sung and punched him, but Kim Yu-sung stood in place without taking even half a step back. The punches felt like cotton, with no force behind them at all. Seeing that Kim Yu-sung wasn't dodging, the blonde guy immediately laughed smugly. But the next second, he suddenly realized something was wrong. Kim Yu-sung had taken all those punches without a single injury, and a cold sweat began forming on his face. Could this guy not feel pain? He hadn't even flinched. Then try this. The blonde guy immediately ran to Kim Yu-sung's side, and a faint red glow seemed to gather around his fist. Rika couldn't help covering her mouth, worried for Kim Yu-sung. The blonde guy slammed his fist down. A little blood finally trickled from Kim Yu-sung's nose. From this moment on, it was self-defense. Kim Yu-sung punched straight toward the blonde guy's face. Normally, the legal limit for self-defense was 1 strike. But for Kim Yu-sung, 1 strike was more than enough. Everyone around seemed to hear the sound of bones cracking and teeth shattering. The blonde guy flew straight backward until he crashed into a tree and barely stopped. Any more force, and it would have counted as excessive self-defense. How disappointing. The remaining two looked at Kim Yu-sung as if he were a demon god, their bodies trembling in fear. One of them still forced himself to threaten him. "Do you know who I am? My father is a high-ranking police officer." Kim Yu-sung thought this threat was so cliché, it was basically standard villain dialogue. He ignored them completely, grabbed both of them by the neck, and lifted them up. Only when they were close to suffocating did Kim Yu-sung slam them hard into the ground. "Take your boss and get lost. Don't ever show up in front of Tojo Karen again." Seeing that the situation was finally over, Rika immediately ran over. "Are you okay? Your face is bleeding." Kim Yu-sung said that a little blood would be fine after a while, but Rika immediately got angry. "Don't joke around. We're going to a pharmacy right now." Kim Yu-sung blankly nodded. This was the first time he had ever seen Rika this angry. But as he was leaving, he noticed that the atmosphere between Tojo Karen and Ryuji seemed a little tense. After listening carefully, he realized that both of them actually thought the incident was their own fault. Then, in a situation like that, Tojo Karen actually confessed. Kim Yu-sung was speechless for a moment. Weren't they supposed to thank him first? Weren't they supposed to check if he was okay? Tojo Karen looked at Ryuji with deep emotion and said, "Please go out with me." However, Ryuji rejected Tojo Karen's confession. Tojo Karen hadn't expected that result either, especially after how happy their day together had been. "If you don't like me right now, then I can keep trying." But Ryuji said quietly, "I'm the one who isn't good enough for you. To be honest, when I was little, I promised a girl I would marry her. That's why I don't plan to date anyone." Tojo Karen lowered her head. She hadn't expected that kind of answer. So she asked him, "Do you love her?" But Ryuji said he wasn't sure either. He only remembered that he had once liked her very much. "So, she's your first love and your childhood friend. Since you've already decided, I'll give up cleanly too." Then Tojo Karen waved her hand, pretending to be relaxed. But the moment she turned away, tears were already welling up in her eyes. Kim Yu-sung had known this would be the result, so he said to Rika, "You go home first." Rika immediately wondered what he was going to do, but Kim Yu-sung said, without looking back, "See you at school next week." Rika watched his back and had a vague feeling that he was hiding something from her. And somehow, she also felt that Kim Yu-sung seemed a little sad. After that, Kim Yu-sung finally found Tojo Karen near the bus stop. "Tojo, are you okay?" But when Tojo Karen raised her head, her face was already covered in tears. Kim Yu-sung quickly handed her a tissue. Then, he sighed helplessly. look at you, falling apart like this. Can't you be a little stronger? Tojo Karen choked out. Kim Yu-sung, I've never cried in front of anyone before, so don't tell anyone. Kim Yu-sung nodded. Of course, we're friends. In fact, Tojo Karen had known all along that Kim Yu-sung and Rika were following them. Kim Yu-sung froze. Were people in this romantic comedy world really that sharp? Kim Yu-sung quickly explained, we didn't mean to. But Tojo Karen said, I know, you were worried about me, so you watched over me all day. I'm sorry. You went through so much trouble for me, but I still messed everything up. I thought if I changed myself, there would be a place for me in Ryuji's heart. But I was wrong. There's no place for me there. Right now, my heart hurts so much, and there's nothing I can do about it. Do you believe me? I really did love him. The moment she said that, a strange feeling stirred inside Kim Yu-sung. He had always believed this place was only a manga world. Only Rika had slowly begun to change that belief, because her sweet smile always made his heart tremble slightly. But deep down, Kim Yu-sung had always drawn a clear line, believing they were only characters from a manga. Yet today, he could truly feel their pain. Could people like this really be dismissed as mere manga characters? Kim Yu-sung told Tojo Karen to stop crying. Tojo Karen didn't hear him clearly and asked again. Kim Yu-sung immediately pointed at her nose and said, if you keep crying, I'm calling the police and reporting you for disturbing public order. Tojo Karen froze for a moment. Then, she suddenly started laughing. I can't believe you'd say that to someone who just got rejected. Then, Kim Yu-sung took off his jacket. He draped it directly over Tojo Karen's shoulders. Do you want to go sing? You can scream out all the bad luck. That way, you might be able to accept the fact that you were rejected. Hearing this, Tojo Karen froze slightly. Seeing that, Kim Yu-sung turned and started walking away, completely ignoring her shouting behind him. But, the next moment, he suddenly grabbed Tojo Karen and pulled her forward as they ran. They didn't stop until they reached a karaoke place. At that moment, the gloom in Tojo Karen's heart finally began to fade, and Kim Yu-sung truly realized that they were living people, not just manga characters. Seeing this, one of Tojo Naoto's men was bawling his eyes out. It's so good that the young miss has a friend like him. In this harsh world, kids like that are rare. A smile also appeared on Tojo Naoto's face. Yes, they really are rare. After that, Kim Yu-sung sat in the karaoke room, listening to Tojo Karen's horribly off-key singing. But as long as she could truly move on, suffering a little wasn't such a big deal. The next day, Kim Yu-sung brought Rika to his room, and Rika looked delighted. So this is what a boy's room looks like. Do all boys keep this much workout equipment in their rooms? Just then, she noticed a dumbbell. But with her strength, she couldn't seem to lift it at all. Kim Yu-sung let out a long sigh. There was a reason Rika couldn't lift it. That small dumbbell was probably about the same weight as her entire body. This left Rika completely stunned. At first, Kim Yu-sung had been heading toward the subway station after school, just like usual. But Rika, who was beside him, suddenly got hungry. So Kim Yu-sung suggested stopping by his family's restaurant for something to eat. Only after hearing his suggestion did Rika remember that his family ran a restaurant. Kim Yu-sung thought it should be fine. It was just one meal, after all. But when they actually arrived at the restaurant, Kim Yu-sung was completely shocked. Rika ate like there was no tomorrow. She finished 2 tables worth of food by herself and drank 3 cans of cola before she was finally full, and she quickly became familiar with Kim Yu-sung's mother. Auntie, your cooking smells amazing. His mother told her to eat slowly and said she could make more if it wasn't enough. Rika really knew how to appreciate Korean food, so no wonder his mother was completely charmed by her. Originally, after finishing the meal, Rika could have simply gone home, but she suggested going to Kim Yu-sung's room, saying that since she was already here, it would be a shame not to take a look. Kim Yu-sung had foolishly thought nothing would happen, only for Rika to actually want to enter his room. At that moment, Kim Yu-sung brought Rika a drink. But Rika looked at him with a mischievous smile. So you like reading romantic comedy manga? What she didn't know was that Kim Yu-sung bought those manga entirely to predict future plot developments, since most manga followed similar patterns anyway. Rika looked around and realized that Kim Yu-sung really had a lot of manga in his room. There was Golden Samurai, as well as the childhood love series. Rika absolutely loved those manga too. Kim Yu-sung even brought out the first edition copies. Whenever he remembered them, he would reread them from the beginning. That manga was a masterpiece. Its artistic beauty was breathtaking, and although the ending was quiet, its aftertaste lingered for a long time. Kim Yu-sung loved that feeling. As Rika listened to him describe the plot, a smile appeared on her face. Kim Yu-sung continued passionately. The psychological portrayal of the characters is brilliant too. Add in the cinematic paneling and foreshadowing, and this manga is simply incredible. Rika was truly happy because she had never met someone as obsessed with manga as Kim Yu-seong. Her father would definitely be delighted. Kim Yu-sung was confused. Why are we suddenly talking about your father? It turned out that Rika's father was a manga artist, and he was also the author of Golden Samurai. That revelation struck Kim Yu-sung like lightning. So Rika was actually the daughter of a legendary manga artist. But thinking about it, it did make sense. Kim Yu-sung had heard before that Kishimoto Musashi's wife was British, so that must have been why Rika had blonde hair. But after thinking it over, he realized there was a perfect resource right in front of him. There was no reason not to use it. So Kim Yu-sung asked Rika for a favor. He hoped her father could give him an autograph. Rika said it was no problem, and even said she could introduce Kim Yu-sung to her father. Aside from that, Kim Yu-sung was also curious about something else. Your father has so many other popular works, so why is Golden Samurai your favorite? It turned out that Rika also liked her father's other works, but for some reason, Golden Samurai had become more and more fascinating to her. Rika then brought up Volume 5 of Golden Samurai. Whenever she saw the male lead, she always felt that throughout the entire story, he put his friends first. That was why, in Rika's eyes, the male lead was both strong and gentle. The next day at school soon arrived. At that moment, inside the student council office, President Kumiko spoke with a serious expression. Do you remember Golden Week? You said you would help me that day. Our school has always had an exchange program with a sister school in Russia. After Golden Week, we're expecting to host one of their exchange students. President Kumiko wanted to give the student an unforgettable gift when they first met. So she wanted Kim Yu-sung to help her choose the gift. Kim Yu-sung would naturally help, so he asked if the first day of the holiday, the 29th, would work. President Kumiko was extremely happy. But if you break this promise, I won't forgive you. For now, she told Kim Yu-sung to return to class. Kim Yu-sung could only ask Rika later if they could change their plans to the 30th. When he returned to the classroom, Sato said he had good news to tell him. The students who had caused trouble in the kendo club and were later kicked out suddenly made another scene today. Then, both of them actually applied to transfer schools. Two people transferring at the same time was already strange enough. So did Kim Yu-sung think something else had happened? Kim Yu-sung guessed that they probably had reasons they couldn't explain. But they deserved it. At least they wouldn't come back to harass Tojo or Sakamoto anymore. And now it was class time. The person teaching them was a new English teacher who had just arrived today. During class, Rika had already fallen asleep from the boring English lesson. The new English teacher's name was Mizuki Nanami. She was 24 years old, and today happened to be the 24th. So she asked the student sitting in seat 24 to read today's lesson content aloud. But she immediately changed her mind. Then, please have the student sitting behind seat 24 read the textbook aloud. Kim Yu-sung slowly stood up and began reading the passage from the textbook. The entire class was shocked by his fluent speaking and clear pronunciation. Teacher Mizuki then asked another question. For a question like this, how should we answer? Kim Yu-sung seemed to misunderstand what she meant and thought she wanted him to answer. So he seriously said that he personally recommended traveling to Osaka because it had plenty of attractions and many tourists. Teacher Mizuki's expression immediately became extremely awkward, which confused Kim Yu-sung. What kind of reaction was that? But Teacher Mizuki didn't dare say much and simply said his answer was practically perfect. After sitting down, Kim Yu-sung kept thinking about her expression. She had clearly looked shocked. Teacher Mizuki was just about to continue the lesson. But then she accidentally met Kim Yu-sung's gaze again. Teacher Mizuki quickly turned around, thinking that this student was truly terrifying, as expected of the rumored heir to a gangster family. Seeing her reaction, Kim Yu-sung immediately understood what was going on. Teacher Mizuki must have heard some bad rumors and mistaken him for a delinquent. After all, ridiculous rumors about him had been spreading everywhere. Some said he had fought an entire biker gang alone, while others claimed he was the heir to a crime boss. But this was the first time Kim Yu-sung had seen an adult this afraid of him. He felt that he should act a little more normal, so he wouldn't cause any more misunderstandings. He needed to find the teacher and explain things properly. Meanwhile, Teacher Mizuki was typing rapidly on her keyboard. When she saw the information on the computer, she froze. Name: Kim Yu-sung. Gender: male. Full scholarship recipient. Freshman representative last year, and he had never dropped below first place in class since enrollment. Student council secretary. Extremely diligent. Honestly, there wasn't much left for the school to teach him. The more Teacher Mizuki read, the less it made sense. How could the heir to a crime boss have such an excellent record? This made her feel that something was even more wrong. Could he have been pretending to be a good student this entire time, to fool everyone? Just then, a chill suddenly ran down Teacher Mizuki's spine. Kim Yu-sung was looking at her with a smile. "Hello. My name is Kim Yu-sung." Teacher Mizuki jumped in fright. "Oh, Kim, you're here. Please sit down. I definitely wasn't looking into your records or investigating your background." But the moment she said that, she immediately regretted it. She had acted way too panicked. He must have realized she was checking his information. She felt like she was about to be dragged away by gangsters. In truth, Kim Yu-sung had come to ask the teacher about career counseling. Teacher Mizuki forced herself to stay calm and put on a smile. "Please sit down first." She asked Kim Yu-sung what plans he had for the future. Kim Yu-sung hadn't really decided yet. If he couldn't make up his mind, he planned to take over the family business. Teacher Mizuki immediately panicked again. Was the family business he mentioned inheriting a criminal organization? "Kim, if you don't mind, could you tell me what your parents do for work?" Kim Yu-sung said that his parents ran a small restaurant in the countryside. Only then did Teacher Mizuki finally understand that Kim Yu-sung wasn't the heir to a gangster family at all. She even said she would love to visit his family restaurant sometime. This also made Kim Yu-sung realize that the misunderstanding had probably been cleared up. Teacher Mizuki then asked what subjects he was best at, and Kim Yu-sung said math and science. If those were his strongest areas, Teacher Mizuki suggested that he consider a future in a STEM field. But Kim Yu-sung didn't want that. He felt that choosing a future career just because he was good at a certain subject was far too naive. He wanted to do something he truly liked. Teacher Mizuki agreed that he was right. Being good at something and liking something were two completely different things. Speaking of which, Mizuki hadn't originally wanted to become a teacher. Although it was a little embarrassing to talk about, she decided to tell Kim Yu-sung about it. At first, she had wanted to become a voice actress. Back in middle school, Teacher Mizuki had been deeply obsessed with a character from a robot manga. So, during career counseling, she said she wanted to become a voice actress. But her teacher told her that it was only a hobby, and hobbies could be left for later. Then the teacher recommended that she find a more stable job instead. At the time, Mizuki believed her teacher was right. But the moment she entered university, she immediately regretted it. Her life clearly belonged to her, yet she had casually let one person's advice decide her future. That was why she hoped Kim Yu-sung would think carefully before making his decision. She wasn't saying this as a teacher, but as someone who had already lived through that regret. Kim Yu-sung said he would seriously think about Teacher Mizuki's advice, because he didn't want to miss out on the career he truly liked, just like she had. So Kim Yu-sung sincerely thanked her for her honest advice. After Kim Yu-sung left, a male teacher said, "Wasn't that the Kim Yu-sung from the rumors? I heard he's a delinquent, and his family is connected to gangsters. I also heard he once took down an entire biker gang by himself." However, Teacher Mizuki no longer believed those rumors. In her eyes, Kim Yu-sung was actually an excellent student, with outstanding grades, and he was also very considerate. So she hoped that teacher would stop judging students by appearances, and that included Teacher Mizuki herself. If you truly wanted to understand what kind of person a student was, rumors were useless. Only a real conversation could reveal the truth. Soon, Golden Week arrived. Kim Yu-sung realized that he seemed to have arrived early, because President Kumiko wasn't there yet. But when he turned his head, he saw the president herself. At that moment, Kumiko's expression looked extremely unpleasant. She immediately said that Kim Yu-sung was late, even though he clearly wasn't. President Kumiko questioned him. "Do you know what time it is? You're absolutely late." It seemed President Kumiko was very unhappy about his lateness. Technically, you may not be late, but when you have plans with a girl, you should arrive 30 minutes early. Kim Yu-sung couldn't help asking, "Then why didn't we just agree to meet at 11 instead of 11:30? President Kumiko fell silent for a moment, then simply said, "Forget it." She no longer wanted to explain anything to such a dense guy. Then she ordered Kim Yu-sung to go to that shop and buy her a green tea ice cream. Kim Yu-sung didn't understand why he had to be the one to buy it. President Kumiko immediately got angry again. So, after taking a punch from President Kumiko, Kim Yu-sung obediently went to buy the ice cream. It was clear that President Kumiko really liked this green tea ice cream, but Kim Yu-sung felt like they were just wandering around aimlessly. Where exactly were they supposed to buy a gift for the exchange student? His words finally reminded President Kumiko of the actual task. She'd almost forgotten about it. Kim Yu-sung thought, was she really that forgetful? She had only been focused on eating ice cream. Suddenly, a voice came through President Kumiko's earpiece. "Young miss, there is a handmade craft shop 2 streets away. I suggest going there to choose a gift. Also, don't forget to act natural and try to turn on the charm." These two were President Kumiko's attendants, Minami and Akagi. At the moment, they were carrying out an intelligence support mission to make Miss Kumiko's date a success. Soon, Kim Yu-song and President Kumiko arrived at the handmade craft shop. President Kumiko took a liking to a finely crafted Buddha statue. How about giving them this statue as a gift? Kim Yu-sung felt that was a little inappropriate, especially since the price was outrageous. It cost 7 million yen. A voice immediately came through the earpiece. "Young miss, now isn't the time for this." President Kumiko's strange behavior also made Kim Yu-sung curious. President Kumiko quietly moved to the side and told Minami and Akagi to keep their voices down so Kim Yu-sung wouldn't hear them. Minami reminded her, "You came here for a date, not to look at Buddha statues. Hurry and look back." Isn't Kim Yu-sung staring blankly at his phone? The basic rule of a date is to make sure your date doesn't get bored. Do you understand, young miss? So, President Kumiko immediately grabbed Kim Yu-sung's clothes. Then she quickly walked toward the exit. Something urgent suddenly came up. "We need to leave now." After they got outside, Kim Yu-sung asked Kumiko if something had happened, why she was in such a hurry, and whether there was anything he could do to help. President Kumiko said it was nothing serious, only that she felt a little dizzy, and told him they should hurry to the next place. The next location had also been arranged in advance. It was a traditional clothing shop. Minami had already spoken to the owner, so they only needed to follow the directions. Soon, the two arrived at the traditional clothing shop. The owner introduced them to a beautifully made outfit. Kim Yu-sung felt the exchange student would probably like it, so he asked what the president thought. But President Kumiko told the shop owner to bring out the best item in the store. Money wasn't an issue. Since the young miss had said so, the owner no longer held back. So the owner brought out another outfit, and this one cost 500,000 yen. Only then did Kim Yu-sung truly witness the spending power of a rich young miss. But even after choosing for a long time, they still couldn't find anything truly suitable. In the end, it came down to choosing between this yukata and this kimono. In Kim Yu-sung's eyes, both looked pretty good. The owner then made a suggestion. If it's that hard to choose, why not try them on? Kim Yu-sung also felt the owner had a point, so he suggested that President Kumiko try them on. After that, the owner led President Kumiko inside. But what happened next completely startled President Kumiko, because this owner was actually Minami in disguise. It turned out that Minami was skilled at disguises and transformations, so pretending to be someone else was easy for her. And the reason she had President Kumiko try on the outfit was to raise her charm level. Minami urged President Kumiko to try it on quickly. "I will make you look as beautiful as possible." Outside, Kim Yu-sung listened to the commotion inside and felt that it was getting louder and louder. Meanwhile, the game on his phone had reached a 9-hit combo. A moment later, Kim Yu-sung finally saw President Kumiko come out. She was dressed beautifully and looked incredibly refined. The moment Kim Yu-sung saw her, his face flushed slightly without him realizing it. President Kumiko really was beautiful. By the time President Kumiko walked up to him, Kim Yu-sung's face was already visibly red. Then, he shyly turned his head away. This made President Kumiko freeze for a moment. Did that mean her outfit didn't look good? But just as that thought appeared in her mind, Kim Yu-sung slowly spoke. "President Kumiko, you look beautiful. You look extremely pretty today. And this outfit suits you really well." Kim Yu-sung's compliment made Kumiko's body tremble slightly. Then she immediately slipped back into her tsundere act. "When I actually try, of course I look beautiful." After that, she happily went back to try on another outfit and told Kim Yu-sung to wait there. Kim Yu-sung told her to take her time. Once the door closed, Kumiko's heart still couldn't calm down. Her heart was pounding like crazy, and she was terribly nervous. That guy was really something. Why did he have to say things so directly? As she kept thinking about it, even the area behind Kumiko's ears turned red, and she no longer knew how to face Kim Yu-sung. After leaving the shop, Kim Yu-sung and President Kumiko walked side by side down the street, drawing plenty of attention. After all, President Kumiko was already eye-catching just from her looks. And on top of that, Kim Yu-sung's huge frame was walking beside her. Kim Yu-sung glanced at the two men in black behind them. From what he had seen, those two had already appeared several times. They were probably just a couple taking selfies. Kumiko guiltily pulled Kim Yu-sung away. Only after the two of them walked farther away did the two men in black finally let out a breath of relief. That was close. We were almost discovered. Next time, we need to get a better angle. These are the photos the young miss asked for. I can't believe he's actually managed to win her favor. By the way, is there a restroom nearby? We're on a mission. Hold it in. After that, Kim Yoo-sung brought Kumiko to the ramen shop he visited most often. He told Kumiko to look at the menu first, while he went to the restroom. But at the same time, Akagi's stomach suddenly started hurting badly. The pain made him bend over on the spot, as if an army of horses were charging through his stomach. It had to be the ice cream from earlier. Minami saw this, and told him to hurry up and go. Hearing that, Akagi immediately limped toward the restroom. After unleashing absolute havoc in the stall, Akagi shakily held onto the restroom door and let out a long breath, feeling that he had finally been saved. But when he looked up, he saw Kim Yoo-sung standing in front of the sink, staring straight at him through the mirror. "Vice President, what are you doing here?" Akagi pointed at Kim Yoo-sung with a trembling finger, never expecting to be discovered just because he went to the restroom. Hearing footsteps, Kumiko turned around. "You're back?" But the first thing she saw was the two subordinates, who were supposed to be carrying out the mission she had assigned. "President Kumiko, I happened to run into them, so I brought them along for lunch. You don't mind, right?" "I don't mind." What a coincidence. But inside, Kumiko was panicking. They absolutely couldn't expose her. Kumiko never expected her wonderful date to suddenly turn into a student council meal. "President, that idiot went to the restroom and got caught. For now, let's just act like we happened to run into them." A little while later, several steaming bowls of ramen finally arrived. Kim Yoo-sung watched Kumiko stare at the ramen for a long time without picking up her chopsticks and wondered if she had never eaten ramen before. "Is this your first time eating ramen?" "Yes, I've mostly only seen it on TV." It seemed that commoner food like this wasn't part of Kumiko's usual diet at all. Kumiko carefully tasted a sip of the broth and slowly savored it. Then she suddenly realized that it tasted surprisingly good. Seeing that Kumiko liked it, Kim Yoo-sung felt much more relieved. He let out a breath and smiled. After finishing their meal, the group went to an arcade. The rabbit plush slipped off the claw again. Kumiko couldn't help letting out an angry scream. She had been so close to getting that cute plushie. Meanwhile, Kim Yoo-sung and Vice President Akagi were frantically moving the joysticks in front of an arcade machine. After Akagi KO'd Kim Yoo-sung once again, he burst into mocking laughter. "Looks like the rumors about Koreans being good at games are fake." Kim Yoo-sung instantly got angry. Akagi had really crossed the line this time. He was definitely going to crush him. But Akagi was in an excellent mood. Since the young miss liked him, Akagi had to teach him a lesson. Then, Kim Yoo-sung loosened up his hands and feet before jumping back into another game battle with Akagi. This time, as soon as the round began, the male character Kim Yoo-sung controlled kicked Akagi's female character straight to the ground. After that, Kim Yoo-sung unleashed a completely unreasonable combo. Akagi had no chance to fight back and was KO'd on the spot. Now, it was Kim Yoo-sung's turn to mock him. "Keep working hard, Vice President." Furious, Akagi immediately said, "In that case, Kim Yoo-sung, do you dare to compete in that?" Kim Yoo-sung looked in the direction he was pointing and saw the punching power machine, the thing he was best at. Kim Yoo-sung even wondered if Akagi had lost his mind. There was absolutely no need to compete in this. But Akagi completely ignored his reaction and slowly unbuttoned his shirt. To everyone's surprise, he revealed a muscular body, the lean and defined type. Kim Yoo-sung had never expected that this usually bookish-looking guy would have a body like that. Akagi stared at him and said, "Kim Yoo-sung, don't tell me you're scared. I'll be very disappointed in you." That one sentence successfully ignited Kim Yoo-sung's competitive spirit. Akagi stylishly tossed his glasses behind him. "I thought you were the type of coward who would run away." Seeing that Kim Yoo-sung accepted, Akagi gave him a formal fist salute. Then, Akagi loosened up his body. After that, he adjusted himself into the perfect stance for generating force. The next second, he slammed his fist into the punching power machine. The score jumped wildly, before finally stopping at 960, setting a brand new record for the machine. "Now it's your turn. You're not scared, are you?" Kim Yoo-sung scratched his head, still feeling a little worried. He wanted Kumiko to stop this, but Kumiko also seemed curious about his full power. Minami said, "If the machine breaks, we'll pay for it. Just go all out." At that moment, Kim Yoo-sung was silently crying inside. He really hadn't wanted to stand out. So why had things turned into this again? In reality, breaking the machine wasn't even the biggest problem. The real problem was that Kim Yoo-sung's body had the enhancement effect of a muscle gag character in this manga. For a full-power testing machine like this, he felt that one punch from him could shatter it. Fine, there was no point overthinking it. He would just use a different method. Kim Yoo-sung stood there expressionless and took a punching stance. Then, he slammed his fist into the lower part of the machine. Akagi hadn't expected this result at all. Kim Yu-song had actually bent the machine's metal frame with one punch. As expected, the score displayed 0, without even the slightest movement. The people behind him looked at Kim Yu-song with dissatisfaction, clearly thinking that he lacked focus. But Kim Yu-sung was secretly satisfied with his masterpiece. The force had been just right. It hadn't snapped, and the machine could still barely be used. But suddenly, the sound of something falling caught his attention. Kim Yu-sung turned his head and saw that the metal frame had actually broken after all. He looked at everything helplessly. It seemed he still hadn't controlled his strength properly. At that moment, Akagi was covered in cold sweat, but he still tried to act tough and said, "Let's call today a draw." Then he pointed at Kim Yu-sung and said, "Next time, I will definitely defeat you." After that, the group went to a photo booth. Since everyone had gathered today, they might as well take some photos to remember it. While Kumiko was still thinking it over, Minami quickly reminded her from behind, "That's a good idea." Then, they took many group photos. Minami and Akagi were messing around playfully in the pictures. Kim Yu-sung and Kumiko, on the other hand, looked sweet together. Kumiko stared carefully at the photos in front of her, clearly very satisfied. Minami pointed at the photo and said to Kumiko, "Young miss, look how well you and Kim Yu-sung match." Kumiko immediately felt a little embarrassed by those words. This really is pretty fun. Seeing her like that, Kim Yu-sung could easily tell that everything today had been a carefully planned date. After that, their final stop was karaoke. But Akagi's ear-piercing singing nearly made everyone feel like their souls were leaving their bodies. When it was Kumiko's turn to sing, however, her beautiful voice seemed to cleanse everyone's hearts. Once the song ended, Kim Yu-sung immediately raised both thumbs. Then, he and Kumiko sang a love song together. In that moment, both of them felt a strange, unspoken sense of romance between them. When the sky grew dark, Kim Yu-sung saw Kumiko into the car and waved goodbye. Meanwhile, Akagi and Minami felt as if the day had completely drained them. The two of them then apologized to Kumiko, saying they had gotten too caught up in having fun and missed their chance to leave. But Kumiko didn't mind at all. "I had a wonderful time today. This was the first time in my life I ate ice cream with a boy. The first time I went shopping with a boy, laughed with a boy, and blushed because a boy looked at me. Ever since we grew up, it feels like a distance formed between us. Even though when we were children, we used to have so much fun together. Still, thank you both for always staying by my side. This day will definitely become a precious memory for me." The two of them were so moved by their young miss's words that tears streamed down their faces. "And when I go on dates in the future, you'll help me again, right?" Meanwhile, Rika pushed open the door to her home again. A man in red turned around helplessly and glanced at her. "I know your friend is coming tomorrow. You've already told me over a dozen times. I'm looking forward to meeting your friend too." This person was Rika's father. The next day, Kim Yu-sung arrived at Rika's house as promised. Her father had been waiting at the entrance to greet him. Kim Yu-sung instantly broke into a cold sweat. After all, who could stay calm when their idol personally came out to welcome them? "Hello, Kishimoto-sensei. So you're Yu-sung. You really do look like a manga protagonist." Standing in front of Kishimoto-sensei, Kim Yu-sung didn't dare relax for even a second, because the man before him was the legendary god of manga, Kishimoto Musashi. "Come inside first. When my wife heard you were coming, she started preparing before dawn." When Kim Yu-sung saw Rika's mother, he realized she was just as beautiful as Rika. Her cooking skills were also incredible, and she had prepared an entire table full of food. Kim Yu-sung sat down nervously and quickly thanked Mr. and Mrs. Kishimoto for their hospitality. "Yu-sung, our Rika talks about you all the time, so I've wanted to meet you for a while. After all, this is the first time my daughter has ever been this close to a boy." Kim Yu-sung instantly felt the atmosphere turn strange and hurried to explain, "Rika and I are just ordinary friends. We met because she got lost on the first day of school, and I just helped her out." "That's good. I was worried you might have strange thoughts about her, since you're her first male friend." Kim Yu-sung wondered as all fathers were this sensitive when it came to their daughters. If he had a daughter one day, and if she were as cute as Rika, he would probably guard against every boy too. Rika couldn't help saying, "Didn't I already tell you not to say weird things like that?" The moment their eyes met, the atmosphere suddenly became a little awkward. Seeing the two of them like this, Rika's father, as someone who had been through life, immediately understood. It seemed his daughter had truly grown up, and their little girl was about to leave the nest. He had always thought Rika was still a child. He still remembered how, when she was little, she always said her dad was the best in the whole world, and that she would stay by his side forever when she grew up. But now his daughter had grown up. Rika's mother watched her sentimental husband with a gentle smile. "Yu-sung, I heard you're a fan of mine. After we finish eating, would you like to visit my studio?" Kim Yu-sung's eyes instantly lit up. "Really? If it's not too much trouble?" What he didn't expect was that after the meal, he not only got to visit the studio, but also received Kishimoto-sensei's autograph. After that, Rika brought Kim Yu-sung to her room. The moment Kim Yu-sung looked around, he realized it was practically a manga library. Rika looked extremely proud of it. Then, she turned and walked out of the room. "Stay here for a bit. I'll go get some tea and snacks. Don't touch anything randomly, or I'll get mad." Kim Yu-sung quickly nodded. Honestly, this was Kim Yu-sung's first time entering a girl's room, so it felt a little awkward. He was just about to play a game while waiting for Rika to come back. But then Rika's mother walked in. "Yu-sung. From now on, just call me Maria." Although she said that, Kim Yu-sung still felt that calling his friend's mother by her first name was a little inappropriate. Then, Maria pulled out a photo album from behind her and said it was Rika's childhood album. Right after that, she started introducing the photos one by one. This was Rika at 1 year old, and this was her at 2 years old. But suddenly, Kim Yu-sung saw a photo of Rika at a convention. At that moment, he was completely convinced that Rika really was the daughter of a manga artist. Even this kind of dark past seemed hereditary. "Yu-sung, look. This is my daughter's true dark past." In the photo, Rika was dressed in a gothic style. But Kim Yu-sung thought the photo actually looked extremely cool. Just then, Rika walked in with the drinks and snacks, and her entire body began trembling. "Don't tell me he saw those photos." Maria simply smiled and nodded. Rika quickly grabbed Kim Yu-sung and insisted that she would never dress like that again. It was just a mistake she had made during her edgy phase, when she was younger. Seeing her daughter like this, Maria smiled and said, "Have fun, you two. I won't disturb you." Rika angrily shouted, "Mom, don't come in again." Kim Yu-sung hadn't expected Rika to care this much about her cosplay photos. "You'll keep this secret from me, right?" Kim Yu-sung quickly nodded and comforted her. At that moment, tears were already welling up in Rika's eyes. Honestly, everyone had an edgy phase, and Kim Yu-sung had gone through one too. To comfort Rika, he could only take out his phone and search through his old photos. Then, Rika saw a photo of Kim Yu-sung, dressed in cosplay, just like her. "Why were you so skinny back then? How did you get this muscular now?" Kim Yu-sung explained that he had felt too weak and not masculine enough, so he trained like crazy, and it happened to line up with his growth spurt. Rika asked, "So if I had transferred 2 years earlier, would I have seen the version of you in that photo?" Kim Yu-sung asked back directly, "Then don't you like the current me?" He had only said it casually, but Rika blurted out, "I really like the current you." Realizing what she had just said, Rika quickly covered her mouth. As their eyes met, the atmosphere between them suddenly turned strangely intimate. Kim Yu-sung and Rika could both clearly feel each other's heartbeat. It was the feeling of falling for someone. But then, Rika suddenly said, "I only see you as a good friend." Kim Yu-sung also came back to his senses. "Right, we're good friends." But by then, the atmosphere in the room had become extremely awkward. After that, Kim Yu-sung broke the silence first. "I should thank you. Because of you, I got Kishimoto-sensei's autograph." Rika said, "You don't need to be so polite with me. You're always welcome at my house." Kim Yu-sung nodded. "I will. I'll definitely come again." Smiles finally returned to both of their faces. When the sky grew dark, Kim Yu-sung said goodbye to Rika and told her he should head home. "By the way, you said you were going on a trip with your family. Where are you going?" Hearing that, Rika immediately smiled. "Hawaii." Kim Yu-sung said, "Have a good trip. Remember to wear sunscreen. Don't cry just because you miss me, and call me if anything happens." Rika asked curiously, "If I actually call you, how exactly are you planning to get to Hawaii?" An image immediately appeared in Kim Yu-sung's mind of himself turning into an elite swimmer and swimming all the way there. But he still said, "I'll just buy a plane ticket when the time comes." Rika looked at him with a smile. After taking a few steps, Kim Yu-sung turned back and said, "Rika, see you at school." Then he headed toward the station. Rika watched his back, and her mood suddenly sank. Scenes from when they first met began replaying in her mind. Back then, they had sat together on a bench and eaten bento boxes. They had read manga together and worked together for Tojo Karen's sake. And whenever the train was crowded, Kim Yu-sung would firmly protect her. She also remembered the fluttering feeling in her heart when they held hands for the first time. Then Rika quietly encouraged herself. Come on, Rika. Her heart couldn't lie. Next time, she would definitely find the courage. By now, it was the 5th day of Golden Week. Kim Yu-sung had already bought every manga he needed from the bookstore. He was just wondering whether he should eat something before leaving. Suddenly, hurried footsteps sounded from behind him. Move! Get out of the way! Kim Yu-sung turned around in confusion. A graceful-looking girl was actually about to leap over his head. But the next second, her knee slammed hard into Kim Yu-sung's face. And just now, Kim Yu-sung seemed to have seen something he shouldn't have seen. He caught the girl by reflex and quickly forced himself to think about something else to calm down. After coming back to her senses, the girl immediately turned to look into the distance. Far away, several figures were running toward them. Before Kim Yu-sung could even understand what was happening, the girl grabbed his hand and pulled him away, completely ignoring his questions. Seeing the direction she was running, Kim Yu-sung immediately said, "Where are you going? That's a dead end." Then he stopped caring about the situation, grabbed her hand instead, and ran in another direction. They went straight to the ramen shop he had been planning to eat at. The two hid behind the window and watched the group continue chasing forward. Once those people were finally gone, the girl let out a long breath. "Thank you for helping me," Kim Yu-sung said helplessly. "Why did you drag me into this? Can you at least tell me why they were chasing you?" The girl said, "Let's sit down first. My name is Sasha." Seeing this, Kim Yu-sung could only sit down too. That Sasha kept talking to him about unrelated things. Kim Yu-sung immediately told her to stop changing the subject, but Sasha said the situation was complicated and hard to explain. The moment he heard that, Kim Yu-sung stood up and turned to leave. Then good luck running away. Wait, when a pretty girl asks for help, isn't a guy supposed to help without asking questions? Kim Yu-sung sighed. That isn't common sense. Seeing that Kim Yu-sung was still about to leave, Sasha quickly said, "I'll hire you. I'll pay you." Then she pulled several thick stacks of cash out of her bag. Kim Yu-sung immediately turned around and shook her hand. "Pleasure doing business with you. With this money, I can buy a lot more manga." At that moment, Sasha seemed to accept her situation and took off the hat on her head, revealing long blue hair. She said her father was a fairly famous person in Russia, so those people were probably trying to kidnap her. The moment Kim Yu-sung saw that long blue hair, he immediately remembered one of the heroines from this manga, an extremely popular character from Russia. Sasha said Kim Yu-sung only needed to protect her until 7 in the evening. After that, she would figure things out herself. Then she even asked if there was anywhere fun nearby. Kim Yu-sung hadn't expected someone being chased like this to still be in the mood for sightseeing. Sasha explained that as long as they stayed in crowded places, those people wouldn't dare act recklessly. She was one of the popular characters from the original story, a Russian heroine whose full name was Alexandra Ivanovna Romanova, usually called Sasha. According to the original plot, her first appearance should have involved meeting the male lead, Ryuji. But for some reason, she had met Kim Yu-sung first. Maybe this was something that happened before her main storyline began. Kim Yu-sung didn't know why this heroine was being chased, nor did he know whether it was appropriate for him to get involved. Originally, he had been indignant that Sasha tried to buy him off with money. That was basically an insult. The problem was, she had offered far too much money for him to refuse. Since he had already accepted the job, he only needed to hold out for 6 hours, until 7 in the evening. Sasha's eyes never left Kim Yu-sung. From the moment she first saw him, she felt that he was strong. She trusted her own judgment. This guy could definitely help her survive the next 6 hours. "Let's go. If we stay in one place too long, we'll be exposed." But just then a voice suddenly called out, "Hey, don't move." The group of men in black from earlier had appeared behind them again, and Kim Yu-sung couldn't understand how they had found them so quickly. Sasha explained that they were former KGB elite agents. Kim Yu-sung was still wondering what the KGB was when a man in black suddenly appeared in front of him, blocking his path. Without saying a single word, the man threw a punch straight at Kim Yu-sung. Kim Yu-sung dodged with a sidestep, and the force of the man's momentum sent him crashing toward the ground. But Kim Yu-sung didn't give him the chance to fall. He reached out and grabbed the man by the collar. Then he lifted the man high into the air. The next second, Kim Yu-sung slammed him hard in front of his companions. Sasha stared at the scene in shock. After all, the people chasing her were all former elite agents. Yet, in front of Kim Yu-sung, they had no power to resist at all. Kim Yu-sung didn't give Sasha time to overthink it. He locked her inside a phone booth so she wouldn't get in his way. Because from those brief exchanges just now, Kim Yu-sung had already realized that these guys were no joke. They were on a completely different level from the street thugs he had fought before. Unfortunately for them, they had run into Kim Yu-sung. In this romantic comedy, the person with the more developed muscles usually ended up being the winner. In just a few exchanges, Kim Yu-sung swiftly took down 2 of them. Looking at the remaining men, he thought this probably wouldn't be too difficult. But just then, a voice rang out. "Everyone, retreat." The instant Kim Yu-sung heard that, he instinctively looked toward the source of the voice. But at that moment, a burly man suddenly charged out and slammed a powerful shoulder check into Kim Yu-sung's chest. For the first time, Kim Yu-sung felt his chest hurt this badly. No one had ever dealt this much damage to him before. When the other men in black saw the newcomer, they immediately lowered their heads. Captain Boris. Kim Yu-sung had no idea who this huge guy was, yet the man had attacked him without saying a word. That blow hurt so much that Kim Yu-sung dropped to one knee, but when he looked at the man's muscular body, he started to feel uncertain. If he was facing someone like this, he had no idea whether his romantic comedy muscle buff would still work. Meanwhile, Sasha was locked inside the phone booth, frantically pounding on the glass and shouting something. In her mind, everything was already over, because no matter how strong Kim Yu-sung was, she didn't believe he could defeat Captain Boris. Kim Yu-sung sighed. As expected, this money wasn't going to be easy to earn. He also had no idea whether more pursuers were coming, so it would be better to end this quickly. The next second, Kim Yu-sung stomped forward and charged. His large hands shot straight toward Boris's head, and the speed nearly caught Boris off guard. Kim Yu-sung planned to use that moment of carelessness to introduce Boris's head directly to the ground. Boris was shocked. If he hadn't instantly grabbed Kim Yu-sung's hand and reduced part of the force, that one move would have been enough to take him out of the fight. Kim Yu-sung hadn't expected this man's reaction speed to be so fast, and his strength was just as terrifying. He actually forced Kim Yu-sung's hand away from his head. Boris grabbed Kim Yu-sung's hand and shoved him forward, making him stagger. Then he immediately threw a punch straight at Kim Yu-sung's cheek. Damn it, that hit really hurt. This man's combat experience and technique were the strongest Kim Yu-sung had encountered so far. And judging from the way Boris was holding him, was he about to put Kim Yu-sung in a guillotine choke? Kim Yu-sung's worry was correct. He tried to lift Boris with raw strength, but the man still refused to release his hand. Kim Yu-sung had already realized that his joint was locked in place, and that instantly awakened the ferocity inside him. The earlier strike had hurt, but it hadn't truly injured him. This time, however, if he wanted to subdue this man, he would probably have to pay a real price. Kim Yu-sung suddenly exploded with force, and risking a dislocated joint, slammed Boris hard into the ground. That impact made Boris let out a painful groan. Sasha wanted to stop everything, but her voice couldn't get out of the phone booth. The other men in black stared in shock, because in their memory, their captain had never looked this miserable before. After that strike, Boris completely lost the ability to keep fighting. Kim Yu-sung cursed inwardly. This guy was seriously a pain. Joint damage could affect his muscles, which meant he might not be able to go to the gym for a while. After Sasha kept pounding on the glass, the phone booth door was finally opened. She could hardly believe that Kim Yu-sung had actually defeated Boris. In that moment, she finally seemed to truly understand just how strong Kim Yu-sung was. Meanwhile, somewhere else, a mysterious man picked up the phone. A trembling voice came from the other end. "Tsar, Captain Boris has been defeated." "Boris? That's impossible. There shouldn't be anyone in Japan capable of defeating him." The voice said it was an Asian man around 190 centimeters tall, with messy black hair. The mysterious man's voice darkened. "Don't tell me it's that guy, Black Yaksha." At the same time, videos of Kim Yu-sung fighting had already spread across the dark web. Everyone believed he was Black Yaksha. People were all discussing why the man once known as the strongest mercenary of the underground world had suddenly vanished years ago. His rise to fame began when Ivan wanted to find a worthy opponent, so in 1999, he held the Fist God tournament and welcomed fighters from all over to challenge him. It was then that Fuma Kotaro, the man later known as Black Yaksha, appeared like a comet. He stormed into the finals and became a legend. Yukika slowly closed her laptop and fell into deep thought. Could this be true? Had that Fuma Kotaro really appeared again? Then, she stepped outside and looked into the distance, lost in thought. Meanwhile, Sasha brought Kim Yu-sung to a maid cafe. Seeing the curious look on Sasha's face, Kim Yu-sung was instantly speechless. He asked, in confusion, "This is the must-visit place you were talking about?" Sasha answered as if it were obvious. "Of course. if you come to Japan, you have to visit a maid cafe. After that, a waitress led them to their seats. Only after the waitress left did Kim Yu-sung let out a long breath. Being called master over and over really made him uncomfortable. Kim Yu-sung couldn't understand how Sasha could be this relaxed when she was clearly being hunted. But he had already taken the money, so there was nothing he could do. And strangely, there wasn't a single bit of news online. Sasha explained that it might be because of an electromagnetic pulse. When agents from EE Company carried out a mission, they would release an electromagnetic pulse first to disable all nearby electronic devices. And that company was a Russian weapons company. "Hello, I'm this cafe's star catgirl maid." The moment she said that, Kim Yu-sung turned his head and felt his entire worldview take a hit. He had thought he was already used to otaku culture, but this was still way too much. Kim Yu-sung was just about to eat when the maid beside him said, "Master, please wait a moment, meow. Before eating, you must first complete a ritual. Now, repeat after me. Meow." After finishing the chant, she even made a heart gesture toward them. "Please enjoy your meal happily, masters." Kim Yu-sung was practically screaming internally, seeing that only Kim Yu-sung hadn't made the heart gesture. Sasha and the maid immediately accused him of not doing it. Kim Yu-sung's face turned red from holding back his embarrassment. This was way too humiliating. With no other choice, he forced himself to make a heart gesture. Seeing that Kim Yu-sung had finally completed the pre-meal ritual, the maid bowed and left. After that, Kim Yu-sung finally got to eat the lunch he had been waiting for. But once they finished eating, the catgirl maid from earlier came over again. She smiled and said, "I specially asked the manager for permission, so we can play a card game together." Sasha immediately became interested. But when Kim Yu-sung saw the headband in the maid's hand, he instantly felt that something was wrong. The maid continued, "The loser has to accept a punishment." Meow. Kim Yu-sung stared at the pink headband with utter reluctance. "Are you seriously asking a muscular guy like me to wear something that pink? Can't we change the punishment?" Sasha said bluntly, "Then just keep winning." With no other choice, Kim Yu-sung's brain started spinning at full speed. If he had to wear that pink thing, the shame might follow him for the rest of his life. Unfortunately, the final result wasn't exactly ideal. It was only after they left the cafe that Kim Yu-sung finally managed to take that thing off. Then Sasha suddenly said, "It's almost 5. Actually, there's something I need to confess." Hearing that, Kim Yu-sung unconsciously stopped walking, unsure what she was about to say. Sasha said that the men in black were actually bodyguards hired by her father. She had only wanted to sneak out and look around, but she hadn't expected things to become this serious. Kim Yu-sung's mind instantly screamed. What kind of nonsense had this day turned into? Sasha still thanked him sincerely and said she would contact those people, then return to her hotel. "Being with you today was the happiest day I've had. Haha, I finally found you." Just then, a voice suddenly came from above. Kim Yu-sung looked up in shock and realized the voice was coming from a helicopter overhead. The helicopter was still 6 or 7 meters above the ground, yet an old man jumped straight down from it. "Sasha, you caused quite a commotion this time. Otherwise, I wouldn't have found you so easily." Kim Yu-sung immediately felt how powerful the old man was. An ordinary person couldn't jump down from a helicopter 6 or 7 meters in the air like that. Sasha was also shocked to see him. "How did you find this place?" "Private business. And this trip isn't just about finding you, my dear daughter." Seeing that her father had actually come by helicopter to find her, Sasha quickly began apologizing. Kim Yu-sung hadn't expected that the old man who had just jumped from a helicopter was actually Sasha's father. But why were this Russian father and daughter speaking Japanese? The old man said, "I happened to hear that Yaksha had appeared in Tokyo." Kim Yu-sung looked confused and cautiously pointed at himself. "Boy, you're the one who disappeared 10 years ago, aren't you? The legendary mercenary, Yaksha Fuma Kotaro." Kim Yu-sung definitely couldn't admit to something like that, so he quickly said he wasn't and told him to stop spouting nonsense. But Sasha's father ignored him completely and shouted that he was going to settle the duel from 18 years ago. Then the old man wondered why he looked so young. Kim Yu-sung answered helplessly, "My name is Kim Yu-sung." "Then, do you know Fuma Kotaro?" Kim Yu-sung said this was the first time he had ever heard that name. The three of them fell silent. Kim Yu-sung spoke first. "Sasha, since your father is here, I'll be leaving." Seeing that Sasha's father said nothing, Kim Yu-sung couldn't help thinking that this Fuma Kotaro guy probably just looked a little like him. But just then, a voice came from behind him. "Then do you know Boris? How did you defeat him? Kim Yu-sung instantly realized he was talking about the guy he had beaten earlier, so he said, "Tell him I'm sorry. At the time, I really thought he was a bad guy, so I didn't hold back much." The moment he finished speaking, Sasha's father flashed in front of him and threw a punch straight at him. In that split second, Kim Yu-sung sensed how powerful the blow was and immediately raised his school bag to block it. With a loud blast, his school bag was punched straight through and scraps of paper drifted out from the hole. Kim Yu-sung instantly got angry. "What are you doing? Those are the manga I just bought today." But the old man didn't care at all. Instead, he called it interesting, saying he hadn't expected Kim Yu-sung to block that strike. Kim Yu-sung was silently crying inside. His beloved manga had been destroyed. He absolutely couldn't forgive this man today. But before Kim Yu-sung could react, the old man flashed forward again and appeared right in front of him. Kim Yu-sung barely managed to raise his arm in time to block the attack. The force behind that fist was more than twice as strong as Boris's. Seeing that he still hadn't taken Kim Yu-sung down, the old man stepped back and began gathering power. Then he suddenly kicked straight toward Kim Yu-sung's face. The tremendous force drove Kim Yu-sung back several steps. Seeing that he still hadn't fallen, the old man took off his coat and threw it aside. Kim Yu-sung immediately shouted, "What exactly are you trying to do? I'm only holding back because you're Sasha's father." But the old man showed no intention of stopping. "Because you are an extraordinary genius. An ordinary person with no formal training defeated my royal guard captain, Boris. That should be impossible unless I see it with my own eyes. Show me what you can do and prove that you are a once-in-a-century genius." Although Kim Yu-sung hadn't been truly injured yet, the pain of each solid hit was impossible to ignore. "So boy, come under my command. I can make your talent fully bloom." At that moment, Kim Yu-sung finally understood that this wasn't an ordinary romantic comedy world at all. A line like that was something you only heard in a shonen battle manga. At first, every part of the story had proven that this was definitely a romantic comedy manga. But ever since Kim Yu-sung came to this world, he had trained his muscles every day. And he had kept fighting all kinds of people. At first, he thought he was just a muscle gag character who had gained absurd superhuman strength. But now, there was only one conclusion. This manga had changed direction, turning from a romantic comedy into a battle manga. Before he transmigrated, he hadn't fully read the manga, but he knew it had still been ongoing. Had the author finally surrendered to rankings and editorial pressure, then shifted the story into a battle series? If that was true, then from now on, dangerous people like this would keep appearing around Kim Yu-sung, and even his life would be at risk. "Boy, join us. Whatever you want. Houses, cars, we'll provide it." Kim Yu-sung blocked the old man's next strike again. Then a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, because he had already thought of a solution. He rejected the old man's offer directly. Because if this story had really turned into a battle manga, then no matter how strong the enemies became, one day, they were all destined to lose to the protagonist. So, as long as he stayed close to the male lead, Ryuji, he would be safe. After hearing Kim Yu-sung's answer, the old man threw another punch at him. Kim Yu-sung instantly sensed how terrifying this punch was. Before he could fully react, the blow slammed hard into his stomach. Blood sprayed from Kim Yu-sung's mouth. He finally realized that in this moment, the old man truly intended to kill him. Kim Yu-sung had originally planned to hold back because the man was Sasha's father. But at that instant, his eyes moved rapidly and suddenly spotted an opening. The next second, he punched straight toward the old man's cheek. That strike left the old man frozen in place, unable to speak for a long time. It was the first time in his life that someone had punched him in the face, and a faint red mark still remained on his cheek. But before Kim Yu-sung could react, the old man backhanded him across the face. Then he grabbed Kim Yu-sung by the face and lifted him clean off the ground. "Boy, I'll teach you something. When your fist hits someone, no matter who your opponent is, you should strike with the resolve to kill them." Kim Yu-sung gasped for breath. For the first time, he truly experienced the feeling of surviving by a hair's breadth. That pressure was beyond words. Then, Sasha's father's voice slowly drifted over. "This is the Imperial Secret Art." Right after that, seeing that Kim Yu-sung's stamina seemed to have recovered a little, he raised his fist and attacked again. Kim Yu-sung had no power to fight back, and he didn't understand what those words meant. His eyes couldn't even keep up with the man's fists. Sasha kept trying to stop him, but her father showed no intention of stopping. "Don't interrupt, Sasha. This boy must come with me." Kim Yu-sung wanted nothing more than to beat this hateful old man down, but he simply couldn't do it. "Boy, if you do not want to die, become my subordinate. I will personally train you." At this point, Sasha's father was becoming more and more shocked as they fought, as expected of someone who had defeated Boris. Meanwhile, Kim Yu-sung kept cursing the author in his heart. How had this manga become this over the top? When he first came to this world, he might not have been used to it, but now he had already come to see this place as everything he had. There were so many people here that he cared about. Giving them up was impossible. Taking advantage of the moment, Sasha's father lost focus. Kim Yu-sung suddenly threw a punch toward his face, but the man merely tilted his head to the side and dodged it with ease. At that moment, the more Sasha's father looked at Kim Yu-sung, the more he liked him. He had never trained, yet he possessed this kind of strength, and his conviction was firm. The next second, he turned and punched straight toward Kim Yu-sung's face. Against his attacks, Kim Yu-sung had no solution at all. Seeing this, Sasha couldn't help worrying about Kim Yu-sung. Every attack Kim Yu-sung launched was easily dodged, but every attack from the old man landed with frightening precision. Kim Yu-sung felt that even 10 Borises combined wouldn't be a match for this old man. Their strength was on completely different dimensions. Seeing that Kim Yu-sung had not stood up for a long time, Sasha quickly stepped between them. "Father, I only hired him. Why do you have to go this far?" But Sasha's father grabbed her by the back of her collar. Then he threw her hard in front of Kim Yu-sung. Kim Yu-sung struggled to raise his head and asked with a trembling voice, "You don't even care about your own daughter?" Then he forced himself to stand. At this point, his body was already in terrible condition. Sasha's father could also tell that he was at his limit. "You talk too much. It ends now." Then, he threw another punch straight toward Kim Yu-sung's temple. This strike was clearly meant to take his life. But right before it landed, Sasha's father's eyes suddenly sharpened, and he quickly changed the direction of his attack. 3 cold, gleaming throwing knives were now embedded in the ground. He recognized them immediately. They were Black Yaksha's shuriken. The next second, another hidden weapon grazed past his cheek. If his reaction had been even a little slower, that strike would have taken his life. Only then did Kim Yu-sung realize that a girl had already stepped in front of him. Seeing that it was his senior, Kim Yu-sung quickly asked, "Why are you here?" His senior said in a low voice, "My father is Black Yaksha. The man in front of you has been searching for my father all this time. But my father disappeared 10 years ago." At that moment, Sasha's father seemed to understand. The girl before him was most likely Black Yaksha's daughter. Then his senior took out a pill, placed it in Kim Yu-sung's hand, and told him to swallow it quickly. It was her family's inherited medicine, capable of drawing out the body's hidden potential. "Kim Yu-sung, don't hesitate. I will hold him off for you. Otherwise, all of us are dying here today." Kim Yu-sung no longer hesitated and threw the pill into his mouth. Almost instantly, a warm current appeared inside his body, rapidly spreading through his limbs and bones. As the medicine's power continued to spread, Kim Yu-sung felt his chest become burning hot, as if a branding iron had been pressed against it. The scorching pain made him lose control, and he let out a roar that shook the surroundings.